Davey working his magic over here. Got it? Okay, good morning. Good morning. It is, I was just kind of thinking about this, and Beth Irons is our guest in here this morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
And I was thinking, is there anything really good about April?
Like I said, it's a transition month.
It is.
You know?
Yeah.
We get a little, Mother Nature just throws at us whatever she's in the mood for at the moment.
It is, and we'll talk about that coming up in a second. Last night was just as predicted. It started to cloud up right around 4 or 5 o'clock. 5:30, you could see it was coming, and then it hit. But I just April, last day of April, I'm okay with it being gone. Then you have Kentucky Derby, Mother's Day, and here we go. It's finally the
end of the college year, then end of the high school, the middle schools.
It is. We're making preparations. My last child will be graduating. Of course, her plan is to go on and spend another 6 or 7 or 8 years in school. But okay, that's on her.
I just say have fun.
Yep. But here we go. So last night, I got some pictures from Ann right after the first wave of the storm went through, Ann in Rome. And I don't know if did you see him, Davey?
No.
Her fence came. It blew her fence down again.
Oh, no.
She in the very same spot where the tornado went through her backyard. These 70 plus mile an hour winds blew down a portion of her fence, and I mean blew it apart. It's unbelievable. I don't know that it was a tornado. I don't think.
I was going to say, was that a little microburst kind of thing?
But it may have been that. They say straight winds, so that's kind of like hurricane, right?
Yeah.
Where you're just getting that continuous wind at 70 plus miles an hour. And we'll speak with Ann coming up in a little bit, but she said, she shows the picture. It's clear. Mayor Lanigan will be on later on this morning, and Rome. Nothing like what happened during the tornado, but damage done in Rome all over again. Jeez. But north, Holland-Patton. What do we have? Holland-Patton, Remsen, and...
It's Pollen and
Pollen and Holland-Patton
on a 2-hour delay. Remsen is closed.
Remsen is closed. To the north is where this storm hits. You have a lot of people without power still. Crazy,
yes, we're
right?
lucky. We were. I'm in the town of Floyd, and not too far from us, we had a tree come down.
Yeah,
that's where the people were trapped in their homes for a short period of time. We had some wind, and of course the rain. Everybody shares the rain.
Yeah,
but we were lucky.
I don't think we got. It's funny because I was waiting for the wind, and I don't think we ever. It got breezy and it got a little, but nothing bad where we were. But the rain came down. Do you remember this? I realize we think nostalgically and we think back and, things aren't the way they used to be, probably never were, all of that Will Rogers stuff. But do you ever remember it being like this? Like this early where we're hit with just these storms and maybe we just don't remember it?
That's possible. And when we were decades younger than we are now, our attitude was different about it.
The winters were much different.
Yes.
You're right.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. The winters when we were kids were a lot like the winter just in this, what was it, mid-January when we got hit with 5 feet of snow in like 3 days.
Yeah, it just didn't stop. Here's what I don't remember. I don't remember it being 85 on April 29th. No, 87. There are areas that hit 87 yesterday. On Friday, on Tuesday night, and a high the next day of 50, and storms that took down people's fences and tore off roofs.
Yep.
That's the weird part that you just don't. I don't seem to recall. Craziness, Davey. Boy, I gotta say, there's always a hope for a Subway Series, and I realize this is only April 30th. But two teams who have two of the best records in baseball just so happen to be
the Yankees and the Mets.
Yankees and the Mets. And both having an offensive blowout last night, yesterday.
Yeah, the Yankees went 3 home runs in the first inning. Judge, Grissom, Bellinger, Ben Rice had 2, actually. They ended up winning 15-3.
And at one point, the Mets were up 8-0. They win the game 8-3. But in the third inning, I believe it was, there was 3 unbelievable defensive plays, one right after another, retiring the side. Like, man, if you can have hitting and you can have defense and you can fix your closing, your latter half of your bullpen, it could be a fun year. Or, as Mets fans know, it could be a disaster, right? I mean, we could just keep injuries, and before you know it, all of a sudden we're going to be whining that football season is coming soon. We'll see. But right now, things look pretty darn good. Let's see. What else do I have that I wanted to squeeze in here? I did have the Brandon Beane talking. One more sports item. Brandon Beane talking about the Buffalo Bills and James Cook. Did you read this?
No.
He, of course, will be with the Bills this year. And his intention is to cut a deal, and Cook's going to want a lot of money, but his intention is to keep James Cook in the backfield as a Buffalo Bill.
So they're going to offer him he wants to be one of the highest paid running backs in the NFL. Is that what they're going to be?
I don't know that was actually said.
But he wants James Cook, wants to be considered one of the highest paid running backs in the NFL.
But he is going to fight to keep James Cook, and I think that's really that's smart.
But if another team comes along and makes him an offer after this 1 year, what would you do if you were James Cook?
Well, we'll see. It depends on how badly he wants to stay with this team, and does that matter anymore? I don't know. Beth Irons, let's talk with you. You'll be in through the morning this morning.
Yep. Thanks for the invite.
And I do want to chat about you're in the transition period when it comes to your farmers market.
Yep.
Talk about that.
We closed the winter market season on April 19th, I believe was the date. And we're off for a few weeks. This kind of gives us a chance to take a breath, gives the farmers a chance to get out in the fields. Fields are getting turned and things are getting planted.
I've been smelling the manure. drifting
part
in.
of the process, Bill. Part of the process.
The sun shines. I get a nice sunny day, and you got to spread
and
that.
The wind's going in the right direction.
You're gonna smell it.
If you want to smell manure, come up where we live. Oh my God! Especially on 365. Yeah. The liquid manure. Oh my God!
It's only for a day.
The liquid is
it's only for a day.
The liquid can be really bad. Like if you're
it's concentrated. Yeah.
If you're next to it, it's concentrated, and I like to say it's like what you do with a good wine. You let it rest.
Yep. You let it breathe.
It gets better with time.
Yep, that's it.
And that's really what you're.
It's the magic behind the wizard's curtain. So when you go to the farmers market this summer and you see all that beautiful produce,
you paid for it, baby.
You know how it starts.
And the only place I would, and I get it, and as Ben, the farmer, always says, it's important to be, courteous if somebody's having a party or something like that. The farmers should work with their neighbors and that sort of thing. But I'll tell you that my parents currently live, and it isn't really that bad today, but I remember some years ago when they were spreading it. She would say, because she loves, you use the dryer in the winter and the clothesline in the summer.
Clothesline in the summer, yeah.
Or the spring, and she loves to do that, and you just wouldn't do it on those days because the clothes would take on that odor.
Ode to farm.
Oh, boy. Growing up in the country. There you go.
That's it.
Let's go to Ryan Schmelz, Fox News Radio. Ryan, good morning. Yesterday, President Trump, with his 100th day in office, celebrating with a rally in Michigan. What do we know here this morning? Good morning.
Well, first of all, a comment on growing up in rural America.
Okay. All right.
I spent Easter weekend in this place called Carroll County. It's a county in Maryland. And if you know anything about places named Carroll County, there's one in every state, and it's usually where all the rednecks live.
It is, yeah.
And
I'm from Carroll County.
I think the thing that summed it up was that there is by the farm that my family's farm, we had a group of people who sell things there, and they just leave everything out. You just Venmo them later.
I know. And it's Venmo today. That's modern. I mean, that's compared to
very modern.
Stuffing the bill in the little birdhouse.
But they were selling eggs for $4 a dozen. It's like you love that. You love that. It's awesome.
Especially if you're in the city, which I know you are. You may be paying $9-10 for a dozen eggs.
Maybe something like that.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy. But
Speaking of eggs.
but it's done on what is beautiful about it is it's done on the honor system, and in those rural areas you can still do that. Speaking of egg prices, I'm sure that was talked about. The president's exaggerating just a little bit, like a lot, when it comes to the 93% reduction in egg prices. I'm not sure where he's shopping, but I don't see that.
Yeah, it's something that he's kind of been known for doing.
A little bit.
Even I think going back to when he was first president, that even things where the numbers are in his favor or would look good if you just use the exact numbers, he likes to exaggerate a little bit. I think one example would be, back in the day when he was during his first administration, he would talk about how much more countries are paying for their military because he put a pressure campaign on them. Well, he would exaggerate the number, even though if he just used the exact number, the number is actually still pretty good.
That's a really good point. That's a great point because there are a lot of people that do that, and I feel the same way. Like if you would just use the real number, that's impressive. That is impressive. You don't need the astronomical number to impress people, but some people do, and this is certainly this is this president. He sees his. Go ahead.
And do you know who's the worst? Who's the biggest culprit of doing that?
And that
I
is
would say sports. Every professional athlete is 10 pounds heavier than they actually are.
You're right.
All muscle, obviously, and they're all 2 inches taller than they actually are. Especially if you do professional wrestling, it's like, I'll just round up the next 2 inches or something like that.
Even in high school, you get through the roster and you're like, that kid is 210. No way, that kid is not 210. But you're right.
I remember my football coach on JV listed me as like 5'8", 130 when I was like 5'11", like 170, and I was just furious one time that he did that.
Yeah. That's terrible. That's terrible. Ultimately, though, the president sees this as being a very successful, and believe me, the administration was selling this yesterday, a very successful 100 days. And the one area you can point to is immigration. However, if you're on the other side, they see the immigration as being inhumane, but you cannot deny the southern border is like quiet. Nothing going on at the southern border right now.
Well, I mean, if you just go around on Capitol Hill yesterday, whether you're talking to members of leadership or you're talking to, just rank and file Republicans, yes, they want to keep the focus on the border. Number one, they feel that the polling shows that the public is on their side with this one. And they feel that this was a crisis when President Biden was in office. It's no longer a crisis now. It's gotten to the point they don't even know if they can run on the issue in 2026 because it's just not the problem that it once was, which obviously is a good thing. But, Democrats are trying to make it into a due process issue, trying to say that the Trump administration has gone too far in certain cases and in some cases separating families. And, those certainly are things that need to be looked into. But overall, I think the Republicans really do feel that this is a much improved southern border situation, and President Trump has proven that he is effective on this issue. So the next step's going to be winning the public over when it comes to tariffs in the economy, and we'll see where that goes.
And again, this is the first 100 days. Listening to the stuff yesterday, you would have thought this was, all right, well, listen, it's been the first 3.5 years, and we're running for re-election. I mean, it's the first 100 days. There's a long ways to go.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, in the next 100 days, I think some people will tell you the next 100 days are going to be more critical. I think there's maybe starting to become this thought of, why the first 100 days? Why does that matter so much? It's like it's a 4-year term. It's not a 100-day term.
You're right. You're right.
And they've got this one big beautiful bill they're trying to pass, which is called the budget reconciliation process. Right now, Republicans are duking it out, and New York is going to be extremely key when it comes to this because Republicans in New York have said they're not going to vote for anything unless there's a substantial lifting of the salt cap tax deduction.
Right.
And there's this big battle about what tax cuts get included in this. $4.5 trillion over 10 years. It sounds like a lot of money, but that money gets eaten up very quickly by some of these tax cuts. And so, when there's a push for SALT to be included in that, and the same New York Republicans are saying, well, if you cut Medicaid and other essential services too, we're not going to vote for this. I mean, they've got the negotiating power right now. So they're going to have a meeting with Speaker Johnson today, and I'm very curious to see how it goes.
Two things. Tomorrow morning, Congressman John Mannion from the 22nd It's not Friday morning. I'm thinking, Davey, I'm thinking today's Thursday. Let me get to the weekend. Friday morning, Congressman John Mannion from the 22nd Congressional District, covering parts of our area, and Syracuse will be in studio. We'll be speaking with him. He, of course, is a self-proclaimed moderate Democrat. I'm not sure there is that today. There's one side and then the other, at least on depending on who you're talking to. Anyway, he's in studio. And we also have this big Micron deal that is a huge amount of money that's been promised from the federal government. And there have been threats to cancel that. That would be devastating for us. So we'll see where all of it goes, Ryan. Pretty interesting times.
Absolutely, yes. And seeing where this bill goes and what happens next, it's going to be huge. I mean, yesterday was definitely a greatest hits album for President Trump, but that's where he's on brand, is at these rallies. And obviously back in D.C., maybe not the exact same reception.
Ryan Schmelz, as always, thank you. Have a wonderful day.
Hey, have a good one. Thank you.
Right, thanks so much. Ryan Schmelz with Fox News Radio. His cohort up there on Capitol Hill, Ryan Nobles, from NBC, will be on the radio coming up at about 8:40 later on this morning. We'll talk to him about all of that. Huge fire in Gloversville. You see that? Were you trying to tell me something, Davey, that I missed?
I wanted to bust his chops about thank you for having the Orioles pitch Kyle Gibson last night against the Yankees.
Okay,
they're the
right.
ones that they teed off on.
If you want to do that, if I see your red light, then I know. So, okay.
Gotcha.
My trigger to know Davey's about to bust some chops. Big fire in Gloversville. We'll talk about that. Herkimer County. There's so much confusion. Everybody seems to report that the legislator there, the chairman of the legislature, was arrested again for possession of drugs. That is not true. However, it's a violation of parole. So that means something. It could mean not showing up for a hearing. It could mean failure of a drug test. It could mean a lot of different things. We do not know. That has not been released. So to clarify all of that, now with that said, people are saying the legislature is doing nothing about this. That's also not true. Turns out, we spoke yesterday to legislator Greg Malta Sr., who posted online. We'll tell you what that was and what is happening there in Herkimer County in regards to that case. Coming right up, Megan with an update on news. Right now it's 6:35 at WIBX.
Good morning, WIBX 950 AM 92.3 FM. I'm Megan Stone with your news update brought to you by Clinton Tractor, the leader in service. Visit clintontractor.net. Herkimer County Legislator Chairman Robert Hullum is being held without bail. He was arrested for a third time on Wednesday for violating conditions of his probation. There is confusion around what he was arrested for exactly, but Oneida County District Attorney Todd Carville told WIBX he was arrested for violating probation and added he is not aware of Hullum being charged additionally with drug possession since his first arrest. Hullum, who was previously arrested in May on drug and alcohol-related charges, and arrested again in September for storing a weapon unsafely, is scheduled to appear in Town-of-Ilion Court on May 9th. Strong storms blew through the Mohawk Valley last night, knocking out power to thousands of homes. Trees were torn down across central New York, including one that caught fire after falling on a home on Lakeshore Drive in Sylvan Beach. A trailer in Floyd was also damaged by a falling tree, and the repaired roof of the First Presbyterian Church in Rome also sustained damage. At this time, no injuries have been reported. At the storm's peak, over 11,000 customers were without power. National Grid warns people to stay away from downed lines. 5 former corrections officers at Marcy Correctional Facility are getting more time to decide if they'll accept or reject plea deals. The ex-officers are among a group of 10 people accused of being involved in the beating death of inmate Robert Brooks at the prison last December. This extension was granted yesterday based on the discovery of new evidence that couldn't be accessed by the defendants or their legal teams. Whoever denies a plea offer will appear in court for a pretrial hearing in June. Today is National Adopt a Shelter Pet Day. The annual observation raises awareness about the thousands of pets in shelters across the country waiting for their forever homes. If you're ready to take that step, many shelters are offering special discounts and promotions to encourage adoptions today. And Hudson Valley Congressman Josh Riley is sponsoring a new piece of legislation on Capitol Hill. The 19th District Democrat has introduced the Stop Fentanyl Smuggling Act. The measure calls for the development of technologies that would detect and intercept fentanyl at the country's borders. This bill would also help reduce the flow of the drug into correctional facilities. The legislation could soon be in the hands of the House Committees on Homeland Security and Science, Space, and Technology. Your full WIBX Weather Center forecast is next. WIBX 950 AM 92.3 FM. I'm Megan Stone.
All right, severe weather now past us. Some strong winds, 70 plus, some damage across the region. Not widespread, but there was some. And now the clouds are giving way to clearing sky and becoming sunny today, 55. Tonight, cold, down close to freezing. Some spots in the Adirondacks may sneak into the 20s. Thursday, sunshine, 70. I'm meteorologist Ray Stidgick from the Weather Channel, WIBX 950 AM and 92.3 FM.
A considerable change in temperature right now. We're at 43 degrees with cloudy skies. Not going to be that bad of a day, but much different than yesterday. WIBX News Time is 6:39.
Are you sick of being just a number or doing a mindless job? Become a craftsman in a trade. Become an IBEW electrician. The IBEW and the Electrician Training Alliance will give you all the tools necessary at their state-of-the-art training facility. Earn as you learn. Paid training while you get your certification. What are you waiting for? Become an IBEW Local 43 electrician. Call or go online today to learn more. Find your career at IBEW and let the Electrician Training Alliance light up your future.
Do you have $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is letting everyone know about great debt relief options now available to help people with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of your credit card debt. Get a free debt relief consultation when you call 800-683-7711. 800-683-7711. 800-683-7711.
BME Company Business Machines and Equipment has been delivering office solutions for businesses in upstate New York for over 30 years. Their success comes from finding the right document management strategies and software solutions for streamlining workflows. Simply put, BME provides fast, reliable service at the best value to keep your business running smoothly. Through BME's strategic partnership with Hummel's Office Plus, they distribute supplies for just about every machine in your office at a great price. BME welcomes the opportunity to serve your business, selling, leasing, and servicing Canon and Kyocera devices, as well as FP mailing solutions. An important part of BME's culture is supporting the communities they're fortunate to work in, and BME recognizes that support is one reason for their success. The future of business in BME's area is encouraging, and the company is grateful to be a part of that growth. Call BME Company at 315-574-8200 or visit bmecompany.com. BME Company Office Solutions. Made simple.
People with diabetes or prediabetes measure blood sugar to make informed decisions about diet and medications. Continuous glucose monitoring devices, or CGMs, measure blood sugar through a wearable skin sensor that transmits data to an app, insulin pump, or receiver. Continuous monitoring? No finger stick required. Kinney Pharmacies accept most insurance for CGMs, and big news, now Medicare Part B too. If you have a prescription for a CGM, talk to your Kinney pharmacist or visit KinneyDrugs.com.
Dear me, I'm you writing from your future. I know that you're hesitant to get care for your heart. But when you visit the St. Joseph's Health Cardiovascular Institute, you'll receive a higher level of care. Their team of highly skilled doctors, nurses, and specialists provides comprehensive heart care and quicker recovery times, giving you the best possible outcomes. Go to sjhsyr.org/CVI to get started. Don't wait. Get back to the life you love.
This is Keeler in the Morning. WIBX 950 and 92.3 FM. Keeler.
That's going to cost us a ton of money, by the way. Nothing is cheap today.
Nope, nothing.
Beth Irons is in this morning and hanging with us through the morning. Anything you want to hit on, Beth? I know that you had someone you were going to bring with you. You are, and I guess I didn't know this, but you work through. Is this part of the farmers market through Cornell? Where? Explain that your situation.
Well, I'm still the manager of the Utica County Public Market.
So these are two different things.
I'm not sure what two things you're talking about.
Well, I'll let you just tell us what you're doing these days. In addition,
the market for the first 8 years that I was manager was under the umbrella of Oneida County, and then to build in sustainability for the market and to open up some doors that we didn't have access to otherwise, we became part of Cornell Cooperative Extension.
That is my question.
And Cornell Cooperative Extension is part of Cornell University. So
that is what happens down at the train station. And the beauty is, in the wintertime, you're inside.
We're inside in that beautiful main lobby. Yep.
Did you? I don't know if you watched the show. What's the TV show? I can't remember the name of it now, but I've been watching it. That filmed recently inside the train station.
Oh,
did you see
Ben Stiller's show?
Ben Stiller's, and it was. I saw it the other night. It was the train station looked beautiful.
I didn't see the show. I didn't see the actual filming.
Yeah.
But I was in a location that they needed to prepare for the filming, so I talked and I interacted a lot with the like staging crew.
Mm-hmm.
I actually met Mr. Stiller. He was in there. He was in the lobby one morning, kind of scoping out the space and kind of spacing out scenes and that kind of thing. And I just kind of stood there in awe, and
that's what it really is.
It really is, yeah. I mean, and we were just, me and Al Haywood, who's with the Adirondack Railroad, were just kind of standing there watching the happenings.
Yeah.
And he kind of came a little closer to us. He was walking down the main aisle there, just kind of scoping things out. And I said, "So happy to have you in Utica, Mr. Stiller."
Yeah.
And he walked over, extended his hand, and said, "Hi, name's Ben. How are you?"
That's awesome.
And we stood there for like 15 minutes and had. I kept thinking, oh, my God, you're like an actual person. We're actually having a nice, relaxed conversation. They had flown up from New York City that morning, and he commented on how the closer they got to upstate New York and the central location, they landed out at Griffiths Air Force Base, or I should say they landed out at the International Airport at Griffiths.
So they did it. They landed in Rome.
They landed in Rome,
okay.
and they came to Utica, and he talked about the snow. We had just had a particularly, it wasn't heavy for us. But they don't see snow like that downstate. So we stood and talked about, how do you deal with all this snow up here? I don't know how we would get around.
Even in eastern New York, they didn't get the snow that we got. So there was maybe 6-7 inches of snow on the ground as you traveled out towards Albany. And then New York City barely got any snow. So they didn't see it. But
it was really interesting to see. I mean, they did
and
stuff.
you could see the snow in the scene that they did, because one of the scenes was on a
but
train.
a lot of it was fake.
It was.
It was
I
weird.
did not know that.
Because a lot of times when I go into the station, when I come in the morning, if the door that's next to my office isn't open, I can go around back, because that's usually one of the first ones they open. And I saw these big piles of fake snow, and I was like, so this is Hollywood.
So, and it's because we shovel it away, especially
it's either removed or it's here today and melted overnight or whatever. But they were just making it look the way they needed it to look.
That's so cool.
But I was never. I mean, he was the only quote famous person unquote that I saw. But he has some fantastic people working for him that were just so appreciative of those of us who work in and around the main lobby, accommodating what they needed to do. And we were kind of like, you're from Hollywood and you're filming, and this is actually going to be sure, whatever you need.
It is a big deal for us. I think when that happens in L.A. or New York or Chicago or Miami, people don't pay as much attention. But here, when that happens, it's a pretty big deal.
And that we a lot of this we have Paul Buckley to thank.
Paul does a great job. He'll be in later in the week too.
I mean, he put Utica on the map where this kind of stuff is concerned.
He really has, and he said that was something to watch down there, and they really this was a top notch. This was the real
Yeah,
deal.
I mean, and people don't realize this. I mean, my apologies to the creators, but I haven't seen the show, and I don't know.
Severance.
Is it Severance.
It's Severance, and
is it a half-hour show, an hour show?
this is the world, right?
Yeah.
When you follow, you get stuck into these series. It may be 30 minutes, it may be an hour, it may be.
But they were there probably 5 or 6 weeks in advance.
Interesting.
Just prepping the location.
And that's interesting because the scene probably lasted for under 2 minutes.
Yeah, I just say 3 minutes.
Yeah, maybe 3 minutes.
Yep.
It was all of that work went in for that short amount of time.
Yep.
That's pretty wild.
Yep. I mean, and they were like, rehanging curtains and putting up blinds and repainting things. And they actually took down the Adirondack Railroad logo that was in their gift shop sign and put up the name of the railroad station that was supposed to be at.
They used it was definitely an Adirondack rail train, scenic train that they used. Because you saw inside, you saw the outside of it.
Shooting on the train itself.
And then inside the station was just phenomenal to look at on film. So,
and a lot of the stuff they left because it was an upgrade to what was there to begin with.
Okay.
But they
they literally made improvements.
They made improvements, and then they put back the railroad logo. They wanted to make sure that everybody that had to deal with them being there was happy about the experience.
Nice.
And it was a great experience.
If you wanted to cheat, it's a series that is on, I think it's Apple TV Plus. So if you can find it, if you have Apple TV Plus, if you wanted to cheat, it's the next to the last episode of the current season that just ran. So, and it's about halfway through. It's pretty cool to watch. And
one of the security guards that's on duty a lot of times when I'm in the office there got to work with Christopher Walken when he was there.
Okay, yeah.
Mr. Walken just came in, shot his scenes, and left.
Major part of Severance. Yeah. So if you watch it, I to be honest, had my wife not caught it, I would have forgotten and not even noticed because they did such a great job. Until you thought about it, you're like, yes, that's the train station.
Yep.
It was incredible. Okay, I wanted to talk about Herkimer County. So Bob Hullum, the key here is when you enter into a plea deal. And that plea deal includes restrictions on drugs and alcohol, which means you're going to be probably required to do testing. And when you're on probation, if you are arrested for violating your probation, there's no bail. That's why he's being held without bail. So from what I understand, the next court appearance will be May 9th. And the maximum sentence that could come from that is 1 year in jail. That's but it may not be. It may not. It all depends on what happens on May 9th. But what happens with the chairman of the legislature position? Since his arrest in May of last year, he has remained. I think a lot of the legislators really tried to. This is a disease we're talking about, right? And whenever I hate to say, but it's around us everywhere. And it affects all different types of people and all classes of people. We can be very judgmental, and we are. And then it hits home, and we're still judgmental, but it feels much different when it hits home. So this drug crisis that I think we're living in is pretty horrible. However, you're the chairman of the legislature. Now, in full disclosure, I'm friends with Bob. And my father's on the legislature in Herkimer County. So you might imagine feels a little bit different when you're talking on the radio about someone who you don't know and you're talking about somebody who you do. Yeah. But it's our responsibility to cover these things, I feel. And if you're just a regular person and you're nailed, you would not receive the publicity that this case is getting. But when you become the chairman of the legislature or even just a legislator, there's a certain responsibility that comes with that.
Exactly. I mean, once you're an elected official, you kind of have to accept the fact that
you're going
to be looked at differently.
And you must be held to a higher standard. So with that said, it's unfortunate, but here we are talking about it. So the question would be, the chance has been given by the legislature to say, all right, we're going to back you in your recovery, and you don't want to step down as chairman, we're going to support you. And that's what they did. I think that this latest, the third time, is probably, for baseball purposes, strike three. I don't know that, but in talking with legislator Greg Malta, everybody knows Bob and they're friends with him, so this is very difficult for everybody. But at the same time, I think constituents are saying, what are you guys doing? So the next meeting, I believe, scheduled is May 14th. However, there will be a special meeting, I'm told, this Friday, and it will be streamed live from Herkimer County. So we'll have a story up today on that and the link where you can go in order to watch it. But they will be, the topic is the chairmanship. And right now, Pete Campione from Little Falls is the acting chair of the Herkimer County Legislature. So I expect something to come from all of that. We'll see. What else do I want to squeeze in here this morning? We got a full program. We'll speak with Mayor Jeff Lanigan coming up in a few minutes, right after the news at 7 o'clock, to get an assessment of the damage. We have some school closures. Davey, that is right now you're looking at Remsen that is closed. Holland Patton and Poland are on a 2-hour delay.
And no AM BOCES at Poland and Holland Patton.
Did we miss Tanya or did we not get her?
She's not here today.
Okay, no Tanya Powers. We're also going to speak with, boy, we're loaded up today. Do you know Roseanne Leparco?
Leparco, yes. Yep.
She's, I love her.
She's one of the Master Gardeners.
She's a Master Gardener, and listen, it's that time. Where you want to plant stuff outside. It was 87 degrees in some spots yesterday, but we're looking at a frost tonight.
Yeah.
So
we'll look at the overnight temperatures. That tells you when to start to do things.
It is. There's some things you can do outside, some things you can't. We'll speak with her on that. We'll do the Rosenthal report. Hobica's free money question of the day this morning. What's your number today, Davey? $200 on the line today. Vice President of Communications for the United Indian Nation, that's Joel Barkin, and we'll get an update on the progress they're making out there. Marianne Buttonshaw, you know the deal on there's a lot happening on this program today.
Or not happening.
Or not happening, although they have a budget and they think they have a deal. The question is, the governor portrayed this as everything was hunky-dory, if you will. I'm not sure Democrats are still in complete agreement. You have two factions of the Democratic Party here that are arguing back and forth. We'll speak with Marianne Buttonshaw on that. Senator Joe Griffo this morning on the very same state budget, but also on Utica Mac. And there was a big conference yesterday on this requirement of dealers like Utica Mac required to sell electric Mack trucks. I mean, this just isn't working. And we'll get an update from Griffo and Ryan Nobles from NBC, all coming up here this morning. So I'm going to do a quick break, and I'll come right back here before news. Stand by, WIBX.
Every once in a while, something that sounds too good to be true is actually, in fact, true. How would you like up to $4,000 of free windows? And when I say $4,000 of free windows, I mean $4,000 of free windows. No gimmicks or games. You don't have to buy $4,000 to get $4,000 free. You just get up to $4,000 of free windows through Patriot Home Solutions and NYSERDA. Of course, some restrictions apply, but none of these restrictions are income-based, and you don't have to sit through a long, drawn-out sales presentation. Give Patriot a call at 315-401-0440, and they can quickly tell you over the phone if you qualify or how you can get qualified. That's 315-401-0440. These aren't any windows. They're high-quality, custom-fitted windows designed to save energy and keep the cold air out all winter. Your window solution is Patriot Home Solutions. Online at patriothomesolutions.com.
Are your tires tough enough for the journey ahead? The Nokian Tires Outpost tire is strong enough for getaways, but comfortable for the daily grind. The Outpost is infused with puncture-resistant fibers, assembled in North America, and covered by a pothole protection warranty. Extend your adventures with the Nokian Tires Outpost.
Find Nokian Tires Outpost tires at Tallman's Tire and Auto Repair. Locations in Utica, Yorkville, Rome, and Herkimer. Learn more at tallmanstire.com.
The Rome Capitol Theater presents Alfred Hitchcock's suspense thriller Spellbound. Saturday, April 26 at 2:30 and 7, starring Ingrid Bergman and Gregory Peck, and introducing the Theremin. See a live on-stage Theremin demonstration before both screenings of Spellbound. Saturday, April 26 at 2:30 and 7 at the Rome Capitol Theater. Tickets on sale now.
From the Stanley Theater Studio, WIBX Utica, Rome, W295EI, WIBX 950 and 92.3 FM, a Town Square media station.
That's the idea, isn't it? Okay, fair enough. Let me tell you about a few things here this morning. People of all ages can experience any level of discomfort in knees, hips, and back that stem from, believe it or not, foot issues. And when you think about it, if you walk in a pair of shoes, women would know, and high heels, all of a sudden you're feeling hip pain or pain in your legs or in your back or whatever. What do you think that caused that? It's your feet, and it's the shoes you're wearing. They have arch support specialists at the Good Feet store that can come in. There is no obligation. You can get an assessment. They will fit you, and they will do the testing. All there. They take a print of your step, and they walk you through this 3-step process, which includes strengtheners, maintainers, and relaxers. These are inserts that would go into your regular shoes. And within a few weeks, you feel a difference. Within a few months, for so many people, the pain is gone. It's incredible. You can call them today and schedule an appointment, or just walk in, 315-999-3910. It's the Good Feet store, 4630 Commercial Drive in New Hartford. The Good Feet store. And I'm in the process of getting those inserts as well. Coming up, news, and then we have a whole bunch to get to next hour on WIBX.
It was like a Trump campaign rally. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News.
What the world has witnessed in the past 14 weeks is a revolution of common sense. That's all it is.
The president marking day 100 of term 2 in
Funny, the
Michigan.
OD got
We're ending the inflation nightmare, the worst that we've had probably in the history of our country, getting woke lunacy and transgender insanity the hell out of our government.
President Trump also touted a big drop in illegal immigration, securing the border, and he talked up his trade policies.
I've imposed 25% tariffs on foreign aluminum and steel. It's keeping our steel mills going.
But the president is giving U.S. automakers a break from those tariffs amid ongoing economic uncertainty. And after a cabinet meeting this morning, President Trump will meet with business leaders to announce new investments in the U.S. Now, Democrats call the first 100 days of the second Trump term a disaster. Chaos, touting low Trump approval poll numbers.
He's acting like a king, a mob boss, a wannabe dictator. He said he wanted to be a dictator on day one. It looks like he's extending it.
Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer, as Democrats spoke into the night at the Capitol, Senator Tammy Baldwin says there's an
unimaginable amount of havoc and harm President Donald Trump has caused for Wisconsinites.
Now, a judge in her state has been suspended by the Wisconsin Supreme Court. Milwaukee County Circuit Judge Hannah Dugan was arrested last week and faces federal charges, accused of trying to shield an illegal immigrant from being arrested at her courthouse. A suspected terrorist has been arrested in Iraq, linked to that New Year's Day attack in New Orleans, when a man inspired by ISIS drove a truck into a crowd, killing 14 people.
Iraqi authorities say the ISIS suspect, who was not named, is expected to stand trial in Iraq under that nation's anti-terrorist laws for being a member of ISIS. But specifics on how the suspect encouraged the attack is not yet known.
That's Fox's Gernal Scott. America's listening to Fox News.
Johns Hopkins University has found that just mild hearing loss doubles your risk of dementia, so hearing loss isn't something to ignore.
But hearing aids are so expensive and ugly.
Not anymore. Meet Audien Hearing. You can get nearly invisible hearing aids without a prescription starting at $98 a pair, and they're ready to use right out of the box. Rated the best hearing aids of 2025 by Forbes Health, and with over 1 million customers, Audien is easy to trust. Visit audienhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
He's coming. Here he goes. Surprise! Your table saw broke. Also, the warranty expired weeks ago, so you need to pay for a new one out of pocket.
At Progressive, we know small business owners don't usually like surprises because they cost you money. But a good surprise that could save you money? Getting a commercial auto quote from Progressive.
Oh, and the replacement part you ordered doesn't fit, so it's completely useless. What a waste.
Surprise yourself. See if you can save in as little as 7 minutes at ProgressiveCommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
The Trump administration keeps negotiating trade deals with numerous countries after the president paused reciprocal tariffs. But there is still a standoff with China, both countries charging high tariffs on each other's imports at more than 100%. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent tells Fox Business,
I believe that U.S. Buyers did a substantial amount of pre-ordering, and now the factories in China are having to shut down.
Now, the U.S. has a new ambassador to China, confirmed by the Senate.
When nominating him, President Trump said former Georgia Senator David Perdue would have a productive working relationship with China's leaders, while he's previously called President Xi Jinping a modern-day emperor who wants to destroy capitalism and democracy. He told Florida Senator Rick Scott during his confirmation hearing a few weeks ago that China has two problems: youth unemployment and a need to import 30% of its food.
If foreign capital from the U.S. stops going into China, they have a real problem.
If we stop buying their product, what will happen?
Well,
the American public says enough's enough. What will happen to their economy?
It'll collapse.
Perdue, who was once president of Reebok and the CEO of Dollar General stores, has lived in parts of Europe and Asia, including Hong Kong. Jessica Rosenthal, Fox News.
On Wall Street, stock futures are mixed, not moving much the day after big gains lifted the Dow up 300 points. In the NBA playoffs, the defending champion Celtics advanced to round 2. Boston eliminated Orlando with a 120-89 Game 5 win. Indiana also advanced in an overtime thriller.
5 seconds, 4 seconds.
Tyrese Halliburton's last-second shot won it for the Pacers, knocking out the Milwaukee Bucks 119-118 on NBA TV. Detroit beat New York 106-103 to force a Game 6. Denver beat the LA Clippers 131-115 to go up 3-2. In the NHL playoffs, Carolina eliminated New Jersey with a double overtime win. I'm Dave Anthony. This is Fox News.
Good morning, WIBX 950 AM, 92.3 FM news time is 7:05. I'm Megan Stone with your news update that's brought to you by Clinton Tractor, the leader in service. Visit clintontractor.net. Currently 43 degrees and cloudy outside. We have 3 school delays and closures to report. Holland Patton Central School and Pollen Central School, you are under a 2-hour delay with no AM BOCES, and Remsen Central School is closed today. Your full weather forecast is coming up next. Strong storms blew through the Mohawk Valley last night, knocking out power to thousands of homes. Trees were torn down across central New York, including one that caught fire after falling on a home on Lakeshore Drive in Sylvan Beach. A trailer in Floyd was also damaged by a falling tree, and the repaired roof of the First Presbyterian Church in Rome also sustained damage. At this time, no injuries have been reported. At the storm's peak, over 11,000 customers were without power. National Grid warns people to stay away from downed lines. Herkimer County Legislature Chairman Robert Hollum is being held without bail after being arrested for a third time on Wednesday for violating conditions of his probation. There is confusion around what he was arrested for, but Oneida County District Attorney Todd Carville says he was arrested for violating probation and added he is not aware of Hollum being charged with any additional drug possession charges since his first arrest. Hollum, who was previously arrested in May on drug and alcohol-related charges and again in September for storing a weapon unsafely, is scheduled to appear in Townavilian Court on May 9th. You could read the full story on WIBX950.com. One of the funniest comedians on the planet is making a return visit to Central New York later this year. Jeff Dunham will be at the Event Center at Turning Stone Casino in Verona on Friday, July 11th at 8 p.m. Dunham rose to fame by creating popular puppet characters such as Walter, Bubba J, Peanut, and Ahmed, the dead terrorist. Seats for this show go on sale Friday at 10 a.m. and can be purchased through Ticketmaster. And New York State lawmakers and Governor Kathy Hochul have an agreement over the state budget, which is nearly a month late. The record-high $254 billion budget includes a cell phone ban in classrooms starting next school year. The spending plan also includes a tax cut to middle and low-income New Yorkers, an expansion of the child tax credit, and free breakfast and lunch for every K-12 student. The budget also calls for an increase in payroll taxes on large businesses to fully fund the MTA capital plan and changes to discovery laws related to criminal investigations. Lawmakers are expected to vote on the budget later this week. Your WIBX news time is 7:07. Here is your full weather forecast.
All right, severe weather now past us. Some strong winds, 70 plus, some damage across the region. Not widespread, but there was some. And now the clouds are giving way to clearing sky and becoming sunny today, 55. Tonight, cold, down close to freezing. Some spots in the Adirondacks may sneak into the 20s. Thursday, sunshine, 70. I'm meteorologist Ray Stidgick from the Weather Channel, WIBX 950 AM and 92.3 FM.
Right now it is 43 degrees and cloudy outside. Your WIBX news time, 7:08. Now let's take a look at sports. This year's NFL Draft is among the most watched ever. An average audience of 7.5 million viewers watched the draft held in Green Bay, Wisconsin. That makes it the second most watched draft ever, only behind the 2020 draft. This year has the most watched day 3 on record, with an average of 4.3 million viewers as fans watched to see which team would draft quarterback Shedeur Sanders. The first day of the draft averaged 13.6 million viewers, while the second day averaged 7.5 million. The Hurricanes are the first team to advance to the second round of the Stanley Cup playoffs. Carolina eliminated the New Jersey Devils following a double overtime victory in Game 5. The Senators staved off elimination for a second time after shutting out the Maple Leafs in Game 5 from Toronto. Elsewhere, the Golden Knights took a 3-2 series lead after beating the Wild in overtime, and the Oilers led their series 3-2 after holding off the Kings. The postseason continues with 3 more Game 5s on Wednesday. The Capitals host the Canadiens up 3-1. The Panthers visit the Lightning leading 3-1, and the Jets host the Blues with their series tied 2-2. A Giants legend is ready to make another mark on the franchise. According to Bloomberg, former quarterback Eli Manning is putting together an investment group to bid for a piece of the G-Men. New York confirmed in February that it is exploring the sale of a minority, non-controlling share of the team. The Knicks, they were unable to close out their first-round series against the Pistons after falling to Detroit 106-103 in Game 5. OG Anunoby led the Knicks in scoring with 19 points as every starter scored in double digits. New York now leads the series 3-2 and will visit Detroit for Game 6 tomorrow. The Bronx Bombers blasted their way to a 15-3 win over the Orioles to even their series in Baltimore. Trent Grisham, Aaron Judge, Ben Rice, and Cody Bellinger each went deep in the first inning as the Yankees slugged 6 home runs as a team. New York leads the AL East and hopes to win tonight's rubber match. The Mets opened their series against the Diamondbacks with an 8-3 win from Queens. David Peterson grabbed the victory after striking out 2 over 5 frames. Francisco Lindor, Starling Marte, and Pete Alonso each went deep. New York is leading the NL East and will continue its 3-game set against Arizona tonight. Your WIBX news time is 7:10, 43 degrees outside under cloudy skies. I'm Megan Stone.
Davey, you were watching the Yankees last night. Okay. Well, I know that someone else was maybe watching the Mets. Romare, Jeff Lanigan, a Mets fan, as he pronounced at the announcement of Chobani the other day, this is Mets country, not Yankees country. Mayor Lanigan, good morning.
Good morning, Bill. Thank you. And that is very true.
And let me tell you something. After in Marte, please let her know that it's Marte. I mean to try to tell her that because he's not going to be quiet. He's going to be in a lot of stories as the years goes on.
Yes, absolutely.
That I don't know if you saw those 3 superhero defensive plays. It may have been the third inning yesterday by the Mets. I mean, that's really yes, they were up like 8-0 at one point, but those 3 in a row defensive plays were just spectacular.
I missed those. I was actually out and about when that happened. I didn't get home till later last night. Caught the end of the game, but I did hear about it towards the end of the broadcast. They were talking about it.
It really just incredible, especially 3 in a row like that. It's also odd that we are here bragging about the Mets, and we're about to go into May. So I don't know. I don't want to jinx us, but things are looking pretty good. At least for right now.
Absolutely.
But there's a
keep it going.
long way to go, and we as Mets fans know that. All right. What in the first of all, you get into office, you get the tornado. Then, as Beth Irons, who's here in studio, said.
Good morning, Mayor.
Good morning. How are you?
Good.
Then on your roller coaster ride, you get Chobani. And
congratulations with that.
Not that this was the level of the tornado, but somebody like Ann from Rome, who I'm going to speak to coming up in a second. She had the fencing that she had put back up after the tornado blown down last night when these winds came through. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah, it's been quite the roller coaster ride for me as the mayor, but unfortunately, this community hasn't even rebounded from the tornado from last year, and we get hit again last night with this storm. And like you said, it's nothing to the devastation that the tornadoes happened in July, but still, people, their wounds aren't even healed from the tornado yet.
Yeah,
they're still waiting to get their homes fixed from that, and here we are in almost the same boat with homes damaged and trees down and power outage still. It's been crazy.
So you have several people. I mean, the whole. I know that we have school closings in Remsen, and then Holland Patton and Poland both are on a 2-hour delay. So there are still power outages in Rome.
Yes, we do still have some. We do still have some power out throughout the city, but they are currently trying to get that all up and running, and we're hoping, sometime this morning they'll get them all back online, and everybody will have that back.
And I think the one thing to wonder about this is this any indication of what the summer is going to be like? I mean, this is odd. The odd part of this is 87 degrees in some parts of our area yesterday. Thunderstorms with winds over 70 miles an hour. And today we're going to be partly sunny and 53. I mean, these extremes, I wonder if this is an indicator of what we have to come.
Well, that's really what, everybody's kind of talking about. Is this a whole shift now? And this is the weather that we're going to have to deal with now. I truly am hoping not.
Yeah.
We obviously had a bad winter also, so we dealt with that. And that was kind of, when you lived in central New York, it was like, hey, I got to deal with some bad winters and some shoveling and things like that. But at least I don't have to deal with tornadoes or earthquakes or anything like that.
Right,
but now that's shifted.
It certainly has. So ultimately, you have damage in Rome, but nothing compared to what obviously happened during the tornado.
No, nothing to that level. We were all out last night driving around and seeing what the damages were, and we do have some. I don't want to take away from the people that did sustain some damage last night, but it definitely wasn't to the level that the tornado caused.
Yeah.
But we're still gonna be out there. We're gonna be putting some information out later this morning if people do need help, if they do need assistance, just along the same way we did with the tornado, so that we can get to those people that were affected and make sure that they've got everything that they need. So.
All right, Mayor, we appreciate the update this morning, Mayor Jeff Lanigan.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, guys.
Thanks. And go Mets. Go Mets.
Yes, go Mets.
All right.
All right.
Thanks so
care,
much. Let me go to Ann in Rome, who did have damage last night. Saw a picture. And what's odd, Ann, is this is the same area the tornado went through and caused damage. Those high winds yesterday afternoon, took down what you put back up. I mean, it's crazy.
I had someone at my house yesterday said, "Oh, I love your new fence. It's beautiful." When it came down, it just came down all at once. It was really scary, I have to say. It sounded just like the tornado. And it was so bad, I was getting ready to seek shelter, and it came just as fast as it went. And I saw a little fragment in front of my house of a fence. I thought, oh, not bad. When I looked outside and saw the exact path, the tornado, the same panel that came through in July is down.
That is so weird.
It's the same. Well, when the guys come to fix the fence, I don't care what they put up. It's going to have to be concrete or something. Yeah. It's unbelievable.
You need a concrete wall put around.
It just came up the street and went right straight through. Thank goodness it was only the one panel. I mean, it's fixable.
Yeah.
But I have to say, it was very scary. I couldn't see my neighbor's house, and then people started calling who didn't have power. But I have to say, again, those city workers, the county executive, Senator Griffel, they worked together so well. They were right on top of this thing.
And thankfully it wasn't what happened in Rome. But still, it scares the daylights out of you because you're just everybody's finally recovering from last year's tornado, and this comes through. You just don't,
I still have a couple things I'm working on at my house.
Yeah.
I mean, I still have big holes in my backyard from where my neighbor's his roof landed, and my other neighbor's carport came through another side of my fence, and there's things that I'm still fixing.
Yeah.
But, thank goodness everything worked out, and like I said, it is the one panel. But I couldn't even see my neighbor's house. It just hit so fast. It was unbelievable.
All right, we appreciate the update. Glad to hear you're okay, Ann. Thanks.
Have a good day, everybody. Thanks.
Do the same. Thank you.
Bye.
Ann in Rome. Kathy in Rome had damage as well. Hello, Kathy. Good morning.
Good morning to everybody. Yeah, I had last summer, I had damage on my garage roof. So I had the roof replaced. And the house roof, we decided that it was time to put a new roof on. So put a new roof on last summer. And after the storm last night, I see one area where I've got some damage. I don't know. If I have other damage other places, I'm waiting for the insurance company to show up.
I mean, it's just crazy that I know. And this is the first big storm of the spring summer season.
And we're still in April.
I know.
It's like
crazy.
It's like the mayor was saying. Every place has its poison.
It does.
But it seems like we're getting more than our share.
It does, yeah. All right, well, Kathy, I hope it all works out for you, and I also hope you win some real money on Saturday with the Kentucky Derby.
Derby day has come up quick.
She's a big horse racing fan.
At least I have to say, at least Michigan State got to the final 8, even though they messed up and couldn't hit water out of a boat.
Well, there's always next year. So, all right, good
definitely.
stuff, Kathy. I'm glad.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Glad to hear you're okay. Thank you. So there you go. A lot of people in Rome have been affected. As we said, same thing for places like Poland, Remsen, Holland-Patton. Holland-Patton and Poland are on a 2-hour delay. Remsen is closed today, something you really wouldn't expect. Wayne said, with all this talk about the Mets, will Soto ever get started and be what he's worth, considering the money, or what he's supposed to be worth, considering the money that was spent? Very good question. And Mike this morning, good to see the mayor of Rome at the Children's Museum ribbon cutting yesterday. The cities, Utica and Rome, definitely need to work together, and that is true. Coming up, what should you put in the ground? When should you put it in the ground?
What should you leave on the ground?
Well, there's a lot of questions right now, and maybe you can plant things a little earlier. I think we need to talk to a master gardener, Roseanne Leparco is a master gardener at Cornell Cooperative Extension, and we'll chat with her for a second. Also, the Rosenthal report. Hobica's free money question is worth $200 this morning. We'll get to that. All coming up at WIBX.
Mattress Express's closeout sale on brand new leftover inventory and floor models. Right now, buy a king or queen and get a free adjustable base. Take up to 5 years to pay with no money down for qualified buyers and no credit check payment plans available as well.
When it comes to the ones we love, their comfort and dignity matter most. That is why Hospice and Palliative Care is here for you. When you want your loved ones' wishes to be honored, when you want them to be comfortable, safe, and secure, and when you want them to be wherever they call home, Hospice and Palliative Care is the right choice. Our team of professional doctors, nurses, social workers, and bereavement counselors are dedicated to providing compassionate care every step of the way. At Hospice, your loved one is not alone, and neither are you. We are just a phone call away, ready to support you through this journey. Choose Hospice and Palliative Care, serving Oneida, Herkimer, and Eastern Madison County for the comfort and dignity your loved ones deserve. For more information, visit our website, hospicecareinc.org, or call us today at 315-735-6484. Hospice and Palliative Care, Middle Settlement Road, New Hartford, serving Oneida, Herkimer, and Eastern Madison counties.
When you need us most.
Get pumped for summer. Add smart heat pump cooling and heating to your home. Call City Suburban today. 315-864-9734 or go online to citysuburban.com. That's citysuburban.com.
Hey, if you have ugly yellow toe fungus, you got to hear about the secret 2-minute trick that I found for my husband. It works from both the inside and the outside. Thousands of people are using it to get rid of their toe fungus. You can check it out at crystalflesh.com. Jake started off with a small spot on his big toe and then it spread and got really bad. His toes were nasty. It was so embarrassing. He was afraid to take his socks off. He hid his yellow and crumbly toes from everyone. He tried everything to get rid of it. Nothing helped. And then we found crystalflesh.com. It was the only thing that worked. In just a few weeks, his toes looked amazing. He's now walking around barefoot again. You guys need to try this. I'm telling you, this stuff is different. It's not sold in stores, but go check it out at crystalflesh.com. They'll even let you try it risk-free so you have nothing to lose. But whatever you do, don't let it get worse. You don't have to live with this anymore. Go check it out now. Just click over to crystalflesh.com.
Jake Cannell with Blues here of the Blues Brothers of Central New York, here at the Rome Capitol Theater, preparing for the CNY Onstage Live event.
And this event is going to be bigger than ever.
It's showtime for 18 incredible acts on Saturday, May 10th at 7. Magicians, comedians, musicians, and Showtime the Band with special guests. CNY Onstage Live at the Capitol Theater, Saturday, May 10th at 7. Tickets on sale now.
Hey, Central New York, this is Will Kane of The Will Kane Show, and you can now hear my show every weekday at WIBX. I do things a little differently when I'm behind the microphone because I turn it over to the listeners to learn and really dig into the issues that impact everyday Americans. The Will Kane Show lets you keep ahead of the headlines and understand what's really going on in the world with in-depth discussions from leading experts and the brightest minds. From politics to sports, nothing is off topic. Listen to The Will Kane Show weekdays at 6, only on WIBX 950 AM and 92.3 FM.
Hey, you know, there's a website that talks about what's going on, and there's plenty going on in Herkimer County. You can explore Herkimer Diamond Mines, which is open back up, savor the taste of Herkimer cheese, take a boat tour along the historic Erie Canal. Last week at the Herkimer County Fairgrounds, the Herkimer County Outdoor Showcase, which is all things outdoor, from RVs to camping and everything outdoors. They were rained out terribly, both Saturday and Sunday. So they're doing a redo this weekend. It's at the Herkimer County Fairgrounds, beginning at 9 a.m. both Saturday and Sunday. If you're interested in anything outdoors, it's happening at the Herkimer County Fairgrounds this weekend, the Herkimer County Outdoor Showcase. The website, herkimercountyny.gov, has the events that you're looking for. Anything that's happening in Herkimer County is there. If you have an event you'd like to have promoted, you can simply submit it, and they'll promote it for you. For instance, things like the Life is a Beach Paint and Sip at Rock Valley Brewing in Little Falls. That's tomorrow, 6 p.m. Or coming up this weekend, the Now and Then DJ service, Rockin' the Lanterns. That happens Friday from 7 till midnight at the Lanterns. It's all there on the website, herkimercountyny.gov/events, where history and commerce and beauty collide. It's happening in Herkimer County.
WIBX. This is Keeler.
WIBX 950 and 92.3 FM. Now back to the Keeler Show.
All right, listen, Beth Irons in studio this morning. In a few weeks, she'll be starting back up with the
summer season, yep.
Farmers Market summer season down at the train station, but outside.
Yes, behind the train station. Yep.
And on the line right now, also from Cornell Cooperative Extension, is Roseanne Leparco. Roseanne is a master gardener at Cornell Cooperative Extension. Good morning. How you doing?
Good morning. I'm good. How are you doing?
Good.
Happy gardening 2025.
Here we go. And
it has begun.
Everything they planted in Rome was just pulled up by 70-mile-an-hour winds, apparently, last night. But other than that, things are going well. Listen, it's so weird, right? I mean, I don't know how a gardener can cope with this. 87 degrees yesterday. Thunderstorms, winds over 70 miles an hour, and today we're looking at a 50-degree high, maybe 52, 53, and then possible frost tonight. Welcome to the new upstate New York.
Right. I mean, when you're planting in upstate New York, it's a roller coaster, but that's why you've got to have a few guidelines in mind. For example, you know, we like to gauge vegetable planting by what they call the average first frost date, and in Oneida County, that's actually May 16th. But again, that's just a guide, and in May 16th is really a date or a guideline that you can use when planting your cool season crops. So things like lettuce or beans or peas that appreciate the cooler weather, that's a good guide as to when to plant those. Your other vegetables, I hate to say it because I just told somebody the other day, your tomatoes, your cucumbers, your squash, you really need to wait until closer to Memorial Day. I know everybody's antsy to get out there, but you could see the fluctuations we have now. So to plant your veggies too early is just going to be a recipe for disaster. But what you can plant now are trees, shrubs, perennials. It's actually, except I wouldn't have wanted to do it the day before yesterday, a good time to reseed your lawn because of the cool temperatures. So again, use that guide of May 14th for what they call the cool season vegetables because those appreciate cooler weather. A lot of your kales or spinach can actually tolerate and will taste better with a light frost.
Right.
So use that as a guide. But your fruiting crops, wait until later. And definitely, if you're a flower gardener, you need to wait. Or your other option, if you're a container gardener, you could start early because you can control that environment. You can move your containers, bring them inside if the weather's going to be bad. Or if you're a flower or vegetable gardener in a raised bed, the soil warms faster in a raised bed, so you can plant earlier if you have a raised bed. But for the listeners, just use those two target dates to have your best success with annuals or your vegetables.
So I want to know what you do when because, you know, when I say we have tomatoes, so every year we do tomatoes. But I like to get them from somebody that's already done all the work. You get them in a pot, and then you plant them just to the right size. And they, like in June, they've already done all the work for me. Is that like an Italian going to the store and buying a jar of Prego?
No.
Are you cheating, or is that okay?
No, you're not cheating. That's okay. Here you're talking to a master gardener, and guess what? That's what I do.
It is. All right. I'm glad to hear that.
Some people like to start from seed, but when you start from seed, especially tomatoes, you've got to start them inside. So that means you've got to have the proper light, which usually means a grow light. You need a heat mat. You need all the tools to start. And if you don't have room, why not buy the plants? And as a general rule, your fruiting crops, if you're going to do a container, consider something that's in the 3 to 5 gallon size range. Single tomato in a 3 or 5 gallon pot. Like, for example, if you've got 5 gallon buckets hanging around, drill some drainage holes in the bottom, and you've got the perfect pot for either a tomato, a pepper, a squash. Very easy to grow containers, and you don't need to be fancy with your container.
Nice.
Spend your money on the plant, and spend your money on the food that you'll need for that plant, because if you grow them in containers, the big rule of thumb is water, 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 and feed.
The final thing I'm going to ask you is, do you make your sauce from scratch, or do you buy the jars in the store? I know the answer to that, but I thought I'd ask.
Oh, no. Old-fashioned Italian, and I got my mother's recipe. So that's, to me, it's make from scratch. And what I don't do is use fresh I do use canned tomatoes, unless I have. My tomatoes are really for eating.
Yeah.
And I find you got to find, my mother, God rest her soul, believed in using plum tomatoes, and I don't grow plum tomatoes. So that's where I cheat. I do use canned tomatoes.
Listen, there's nothing wrong with cheating.
It's also important to mention that Roseanne is a mountain of information, but she's also part of a group these are people that are very passionate about gardening. If anybody out there thinks, oh, geez, I'd love to start a garden, but I live on the 7th floor of an apartment building.
Yeah.
Roseanne mentioned it. I mean, you can do container gardening. You can do a small raised bed on a balcony, or even on the windowsill above your kitchen sink.
Right.
If you have any questions about whether it's an annual or a perennial, I mean, I love hosta, so I planted hosta when we moved into our house about a decade ago.
They multiply.
Yeah, and they're doing beautiful. But my mom always liked the daffodils and the tulips, the ones where you plant the bulbs, and I could never get the hang of planting bulbs at the right time or in the right place. Or sometimes it's in the fall, sometimes you put them in the spring, sometimes you have to dig them up at the end after they bloom, that kind of thing. But if anybody out there listening just has an itching green thumb that they just have to do something with, call Cornell Cooperative Extension 315-733-3496. Talk to Linda, who answers the phone. She's a master gardener, and she will put you in touch with one of our master gardeners to help you with whatever challenge you're trying to overcome, or whatever you're trying to get starting to grow. But it's a wonderful resource to have in the community.
Roseanne, I have two of you here today. It's with Beth. Beth Irons in studio. It's perfect.
Yeah, and if I could just add to that, Beth, if people want to know what to do and where we're out in the community, the Master Gardener Group, you can go to our website, cceoneida.com, click on Home and Garden, and right on the page you'll see where the Master Gardeners are out in the community. We visit various greenhouses and give classes, and also encourage your listeners to come to our Cornell Cooperative Extension open house on July 16th from 4 to 7. Most of our CCE programs will be represented, including the Master Gardeners. We'll have the Butterfly House. We'll have gardening workstations. There'll be activities for the kids. And if you really want to see what your Cornell Cooperative Extension of Oneida County does, come to our open house on July 16th.
All right. We'll talk to you again sometime soon, Roseanne. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Bye-bye.
And by the way, I never hated rabbits so much until I cared about the flowers in front of our house.
Marigolds, plant marigolds.
That's the answer.
I have to add one thing. Let's go Mets, because I heard that from the previous listener. So let's go Mets, but let's not talk about Juan Soto. So
that's right.
Throw that in.
That's right. Listen, he's it's all in his head, and when he explodes, it's going to be really exciting. It's going to be the perfect time. It's going to be in August when we really need him, I hope. So.
I hope so.
We'll see.
I'm with you.
All right. Thanks, Roseanne.
Bye-bye now.
All right. Roseanne Leparco with Cornell Cooperative Extension. All right. Quick update from news. We'll do Hobica's free money question coming up at WIBX.
We're your neighbors, friends, and your family. We care about our community, your business, and most important, you.
We support charities like the United Way, McMahon Ryan Child Advocacy Center, who are the members of IBEW Local 43 and Utica Contractors. You don't just see our work, you live it. From the JMA Wireless Dome, hospitals, schools, and city buildings, the IBEW is part of the community.
Central New York's future is bright, and the IBEW Local 43 and Utica will continue to help light, power, and grow Central New York.
Don't miss Clinton Tractor Spring Sales Event. We're giving you the best deals of the season on all of our inventory. Thousands of used and new equipment in stock, all in one location. Get 0% financing on new Ferris commercial mowers, Massey Ferguson, and New Holland equipment. And trailers and used equipment as low as 5.49%. Restrictions apply. We're giving you the best deals of the season. It's Clinton Tractor Spring Sales Event.
We are the leader in service, Clinton Tractor.
ClintonTractor.net.
Good morning, WIBX 950 AM 92.3 FM. I'm Megan Stone with your news update brought to you by Clinton Tractor, the leader in service. Visit ClintonTractor.net. A Utica man was arrested for having sexual contact with a girl under the age of 11. According to the Oneida County Sheriff's Office, they received a tip from the Child Advocacy Center of the alleged encounter, which happened in the summer of 2021 in Utica. A grand jury indicted 22-year-old Christian Castro on April 17th, and a Superior Court warrant was issued for his arrest. Castro was located in the village of Whitesboro and charged with 2 counts of criminal sexual act in the first degree and 1 count of rape in the first degree, both of which are felonies. He was held at Oneida County Jail on $40,000 bail. An order of protection was granted to the victim. At least 11 players with the West Hill High School boys lacrosse team will be facing charges for their alleged roles in a hazing incident. The Onondaga County District Attorney says last Thursday night other players decided to play a prank on younger team members and took them to a remote location where other teens were waiting. The teens came out of the woods with what appeared to be weapons, and one young player was tied up and put into a trunk. No one was hurt, and the rest of the team's season is canceled. Herkimer County Legislature Chairman Robert Hollum is being held without bail after being arrested for a 3rd time on Wednesday for violating conditions of his probation. There's confusion around what he was arrested for. According to Oneida County District Attorney Todd Carville, he told WIBX Hollum was arrested for violating probation. And Carville added he is not aware of Hollum being charged with an additional count of drug possession since his initial arrest. Hollum, who was previously arrested in May on drug and alcohol-related charges and arrested again in September for storing a weapon unsafely, is scheduled to appear in Town of Ilion Court on May 9th. 2 Columbia University janitors are suing more than 40 protesters from last April's Hamilton Hall riot. Mario Torres and Lester Wilson say they were threatened, pummeled, and held hostage by pro-Palestinian demonstrators during a regular overnight shift. Their lawsuit reveals hand-drawn maps used to identify the locations of heavy equipment that could be used to block doors and windows at the historic building. The janitors claim demonstrators who blocked their attempts to leave Hamilton Hall were distributing bike locks, rope, zip ties, food, cots, and other supplies to carry out the raid. They say the experience triggered PTSD, which has left them unable to return to work. Your full weather forecast is next. WIBX 950 AM 92.3 FM. I'm Megan Stone.
All right, severe weather now past us. Some strong winds, 70 plus, some damage across the region. Not widespread, but there was some. And now the clouds are giving way to clearing sky and becoming sunny today, 55. Tonight, cold, down close to freezing. Some spots at the Adirondacks may sneak into the 20s. Thursday, sunshine, 70. I'm meteorologist Ray Stidgick from the Weather Channel, WIBX 950 AM and 92.3 FM.
Did he say just do caller 5? Is that what he wants? Yeah. Yep. 5th caller right now for Bike. By the way, it is 43 degrees right now. And partly cloudy skies. Time for Bike's free money question of the day. It is worth $200 this morning. Great question on the way, and we're looking for caller number 5. 315-736-0186. Call right now for your chance to win from Hobica and WIBX.
Jake Cannell with Blues here of the Blues Brothers of Central New York, here at the Rome Capitol Theater, preparing for the CNY Onstage Live event.
And this event is going to be bigger than ever.
It's showtime for 18 incredible acts on Saturday, May 10th at 7. Magicians, comedians, musicians, and Showtime the Band with special guests. CNY Onstage Live at the Capitol Theater, Saturday, May 10th at 7. Tickets on sale now.
Not everyone who handles your personal information is as careful as you are, which might explain why there's a victim of identity theft every 5 seconds in the United States. Fortunately, there's LifeLock. LifeLock will monitor hundreds of millions of data points a second for threats to your identity. And if your identity's stolen, a U.S.-based restoration specialist will fix it guaranteed or your money back. Save 40% your first year with my name, Clay, as your promo code at LifeLock.com. LifeLock. For the threats you can't control, terms apply.
In life, we're often faced with difficult decisions. When it comes to caring for our loved one, the choice can be overwhelming. But amidst the uncertainties, there's one decision that stands out as an act of profound love and gratitude: choosing hospice care. Hospice care isn't just about medical support. It's about honoring the journey of those who've given their all to their families. It's about providing comfort, dignity, and peace in their final days, surrounded by loved ones. Choosing hospice is a way to give back to someone who has selflessly given their life to others. At Hospice and Palliative Care, we understand the weight of this choice. Our compassionate team is here to guide you through every step of the journey, providing personalized care that respects the individuality and dignity of your loved one. When it's time to say goodbye, choose hospice care. Choose love. Choose Hospice and Palliative Care, serving Oneida, Herkimer, and Eastern Madison counties. Visit our website, hospicecareinc.org, or call 315-735-6484.
When you need us most.
Hey, I want to tell you it's time to shift gears, shift seasons, and shift into savings with GPO Federal Credit Union as they're rolling out an auto loan sale that is going on right now, but it ends today. Rates are as low as 4.99% APR for up to 5 years on 2021 to 2025 models. So you can hit the road this spring in the car you want. Thinking about refinancing, they have you covered as well there, with rates on 2017 to 2020 models as low as 5.9% APR. Apply today at gpofcu.com or stop into your local branch, but you got to hurry because it ends at 5 p.m. today. GPO Federal Credit Union, your journey, their commitment, and membership eligibility is required. Credit restrictions apply. Rates based on credit history. Existing GPO loans cannot be refinanced, cannot be combined with any other discounts or incentive offers as well. And promo date available March 1st through today, the final day. It ends today. Rate subject to change and SUA insured. See branch for full details.
WIBX. This is Keeler. WIBX 950 and 92.3 FM. Now back to the Keeler Show.
All right, here we go. Beth Irons in studio here this morning. It's always good, Beth, if the caller doesn't get it right and the guest host does.
Okay.
You win $5. I realize the caller can win $200.
Coffee on the way to the office.
It could be a $5 win and coffee on the way to the office. So.
Yeah, it's money, though. It's one of my weak spots.
Here's Robin. Good morning, Robin. Good morning.
Good morning.
How you doing? You ready to go?
I hope so.
All right. All right. I hope you are as well. You know the deal. You have 7 seconds to answer. It comes from the Hobeika Law Firm, Joseph and Andrew Hobeika, at 315-724-1600 for all of your legal needs. This is from the category, Robin, television, okay?
Okay.
From the category TV. One of my favorite shows, actually. Here's your question. The new host of Match Game, the TV game show Match Game, is going to be, and this is going to be awesome, Martin Short will be the new host. They just announced it. Here's your question. Who was the previous host in 2021? Ready, go.
2021, I have no clue.
Pick somebody. Yeah. I
have no clue.
I only know this off the top of my head because I love this show and I watched it. And I thought he was actually okay. I'm not a big fan necessarily, but Alec Baldwin was, I think he was good on it.
I never would have guessed him.
Yeah. All right. Well, listen, we're going to give you the food and fun cards, a $25 gift card, good at all different restaurants, including Aquavino, Taylor and the Cook, the Odd, the Nexus Center. Davey is going to hook you up, Robin, and you have a wonderful day today.
Okay, thank you. You too.
All right. Thanks so much. Davey, you've got Robin, line 2. Did you know the answer to that?
No, I did not.
You remember Gene Rayburn was the original.
Yeah.
That was the original. He was really good. I got to say, I'm surprised they haven't had, I know they've done some like Wheel of Fortune shows at the Turning Stone. What they really need to do, because these can get, this Match Game can get a lot of fun. They need to do one of those shows at the Turning Stone.
Well, just see the personalities that they would come in.
It would be epic.
Yeah.
Speaking of the Turning Stone, the man, On the line right now, Joel Barkin is the Vice President of Communications for the Oneida Nation. And Joel, good morning.
What's happening? I will take that recommendation back.
Listen, match game is fun. It could be,
racy, little
People
racy.
like games. Every time we do one of these game shows,
they're huge.
Dancing with the Stars, or whatever, massive fan base out there. You don't realize how big they are. So
you do not. Yeah.
Well, and I've been to a couple of the shows out there that were the Taste of Home, the cooking shows.
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And some celebrity chefs. I've been to some shows out there with the celebrity chefs. They're great.
Well, and Joel, that's what this is really all about. So what you used to be able to, what you can do now, and what you're going to be able to do in 2 years is night and day, right?
Yeah, it's pretty significant. As you mentioned, we had a topping ceremony last week, which, for those of you who don't know what a topping ceremony is, it's just a major milestone event when you place the final beam on a structure that you're building. So for our new hotel, the Crescent Hotel, and we are, we're moving fast, moving on time, maybe a little bit faster than on time, on budget. Got a lot of tremendous partners. I mean, it was really a great event seeing the community come together. We have more than 60 upstate New York businesses that are working on this project. So the construction workers were there represented. Many of the business subcontractors were there. Elected officials, community partners, obviously Oneida Indian Nation members, and our workforce team members, employees there. So it is spectacular, and all to support this, major evolution of the property. We're going to double the size of our meeting and convention facilities, and that structure is coming along really fast.
I can't believe how quickly it's all happening. By the way, I didn't know what a topping out ceremony was until about a month ago when I sat and watched the entire ceremony for the Buffalo Bills as they were doing their topping out.
That was a good one. That was pretty cool.
That was a good one. Yeah. And then all of a sudden I turn around a couple of weeks later and the Turning Stone is doing one, and I'm like, I totally know what that is.
Well, I remember the one they did the one at the Wynn too when they were building the new hospital.
Yes, they did that as well there. So I guess we've seen three. And I had never.
We just did one earlier this year at the Point Place Casino too.
That's right.
So it's so this is actually our second this year.
Well, and you know what? It's interesting is that we have been so. I understand the Turning Stone was built and all of that is one of the new structures in the area, but we're so not accustomed to new construction in our area, and that has changed in the last 5-7 years, and so it is something that we're becoming accustomed to, and that shows there's progress. Speaking of progress, it is amazing, Joel, how quickly everything is going up there at the property at the Turning Stone. I mean, it's fast.
Well, one of the things that I think people, when we initially announced it in 2023, and then we broke ground in 2024, and people were saying, well, why are you waiting a year to break ground? And what you don't realize, what I certainly didn't realize, is the amount of time and planning that goes into just the planning for this and the actual construction and the timeline, that you need a year just to navigate all the issues and all the logistics so that once you start, it moves very rapidly. So there were a lot of people that spent, a lot of time, more than a year, making sure that we could be in a place to move quickly on this, and that's what we're seeing.
Well, and I think to that point, it speaks very well of the relationships that the Turning Stone has and with our local elected officials and how well everybody works together. I mean, everybody seems to be more or less on the same page. We all want to move in the right direction, and you bring up a very vital point that a lot of people typically don't see by design. All the work that happens before, quote, the work starts. And everything has to be in place. All the paperwork has to be done. All the permits have to be there. All the people have to be ready. So when you pull the trigger, if everything goes according to plan, everything goes smoothly. And when things don't go smoothly, people are better prepared to deal with that.
That's a big deal.
Yeah.
The other thing, Joel, is we we remember what it was like when the elected officials were not there. Before this deal was done, it's almost like we've forgotten about that. But, there was a time when I can't go there. We're in the middle of negotiations.
So-and-so is going to be there.
That's all gone. That's all gone. And that is, it shows you how much can be accomplished when everybody's, you had a lot of public officials at the topping out ceremony. That was a good thing to see.
Yeah, well, there's a 30-year track record of showing that when the United Indian Nation says something and if they're going to do something, they follow through. And and it has been, since you brought it up, since the 2013 agreement, I think once we settled all those issues, have everyone moving in the same direction. Ray Halberter used to say, look, we can spend money on lawyers or we can spend money on reinvesting.
Right.
And we'd rather spend it on reinvesting. And that's exactly what's happened. In addition to, generating literally hundreds of millions of dollars through our agreement for local public services.
Yeah.
So it has, I would challenge anyone to find a better piece of public policy than that 2013 agreement.
Now, it's Mike here says it'll be exciting to see the topping out off ceremony at the Chobani facility. I see they're breaking ground on July 1st. And I got to say, being at that ceremony the other day, Joel, I immediately thought about, because Hondi was talking about how they're committed to this area. He sees New York as his home, and they invested here because of that. The first thought that came to my mind was the United Nation. And I think you said it on the air, and I always repeat this because it's important. Companies can come and go. Companies that have no loyalty to an area can come and go. The United Nation, this is Oneida land. There's nowhere they're going, and the investment is in their home. And that, I think, I see the similarities with Chobani, and I thought of the United Nation.
I like it. I think that's right. A good correlation. And we're excited for that as well. And, whenever you can get long-term commitment and people investing in this region, that's good for everyone.
Okay, what should people know as you're moving forward? Anything that you want the public to know about?
Well, I think the exciting thing for us is we still, we are quite literally, changing, the tires on the highway, right? As the car's running down the highway. So, and I think one of the things we continue to hear from our guests is, we do have a lot of construction on, but even that has been so meticulously planned. So you don't see it here. It doesn't, we have really figured out a very easy way not to interrupt the guest experience while still doing all this work. And we have a lot going on, right? I will tell you we're going to announce next week, Boxing Hall of Fame weekend is coming up June 6th. We have every year for Boxing Hall of Fame weekend, we do a huge nationally televised fight on the Friday night. They're going to have Hall of Famers there. Manny Pacquiao and others are being inducted into the Hall of Fame. And Saturday and Sunday, there's events at Canastota and at Turning Stone. So I would encourage folks to follow, what's going to be going on there. It's really a historic year. It's going to be very, very cool. And we got a lot of people coming in literally from all over the world to celebrate. So that'll be a lot of fun.
If I could, Davey has a real big question. He wants to know if there's going to be a certain someone that might be appearing at the Turning Stone after the parade. Davey, what's your question?
Is Sydney Sweeney going to be around?
Well, I guess we'll have to find out. But like I said, I don't want to spoil Ed's news, but
okay.
He got a big one in that one. In terms of so we're excited for Ed. It's going to bring a lot more attention, and let's just say there are going to be faces all over Turning Stone that people are going to recognize that weekend. So it's a great weekend to hang out at the property.
That's pretty cool. And anything you want to talk this weekend? Obviously, Kentucky Derby weekend, or depending on where you go at the resort, there's always something going on for the Derby.
Yeah, we'll have stuff going on. New York Rec and Social, big fun party there. Our sports book and bar, and then of course all over the property there'll be festivities.
All right, good stuff, Joel. We always appreciate the update.
All right,
Thanks,
guys, I appreciate it.
Thanks so
Thank
much. Have a great day. Joel Barkin with the United Nation, and that Sweeney thing, Davey.
Yeah, so when Ryan...
I know you're really, really excited. She's going to be, for those that don't know, she's going to be the Grand Marshal of the parade for the Boxing Hall of Fame.
So Ryan Cabrera was over there a couple weeks ago, like a month and a half ago at Exit 33 to hit when that new entertainment thing they have.
Yeah.
So his wife is Alexa Bliss from WWE.
Oh, that's
so
right up
a
your
buddy of
alley.
mine was over there and says, if you get a chance, you got to come over here. She's here. If you want to meet her.
Just hanging out.
Just hanging out. And of course, I didn't go over because I didn't want to be a stalker. And
Yeah, that sounds a little
Fan, stalker, sometimes that's a fine line.
Little creepy when
Yeah.
you think about it. Yeah, you better get over here, Davey. Guess who's here? Still, though, it's you just never know, right?
Yeah, you never know.
Yeah.
But I will be in Canastota at Boxing Hall of Fame.
Right. I
weekend.
mean, when it comes to Sweeney, what's her name again? Sydney
Sweeney.
Creepy's okay, right? She's just apparently that incredible. Okay, going to be interesting. Daylight Donuts is the official coffee of this radio program. The coffee is Seattle's best, and it is really awesome. Try their iced coffee and their amazing cold brew coffee. The pistachio lattes are a real hit right now. And you know, when it comes to their donuts and the croissants and bagels and all that stuff is made fresh at Daylight Donuts every single day. Try their breakfast sandwich, the egg white frittata made with egg white, spinach, tomato, and feta cheese. You can have it on a bagel, English muffin, or the amazingly delicious homemade croissant, and it'll melt in your mouth. Daylight Donuts in the village of New Hartford. Also, we'll tell you, the Falcon Clinic in Washington Mills is the area's premier osteopathic medical clinic. Dr. Zielinski and Dr. Shemaleski and other physicians, even an acupuncturist, counselors, all under one roof. And if you're looking for a new family doctor, years in the ER, both Dr. Zielinski and Dr. Shemaleski have done work in the ER, and they're there accepting new patients right now. You don't need a referral. You can call them, 315-507-4751, or you can visit them online. It's conveniently located in Washington Mills. All of these medical services under one roof. It is the Falcon Clinic in Washington Mills. And Beth Irons in this morning quickly. So the farmers market is off for a few weeks.
Yep, on May 17th for the summer.
You're back on the 17th, and it'll be outdoors.
Outdoors behind the train station, and my husband and I go to Falcon Clinic. They are wonderful people.
They really are,
yeah.
right?
They help you help yourself.
That is a big part of it. That you play a really big role in your health.
Exactly.
That's important.
They work with you.
They do. Quick break. News is next on WIBX.
From the Stanley Theater Studio, WIBX Utica, Rome, W295EI, WIBX 950 and 92.3 FM, a Town Square media station.
He'll meet with his cabinet. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. The morning after President Trump held a rally in Michigan to mark a milestone.
The most successful first 100 days of any administration in the history of our country.
Saying it's common sense to get rid of DEI programs, change transgender policies, cut waste in government, and secure the border.
The number of illegal border crossers released into the United States is down, listen to this please, 99.999%.
And the president also talked up his trade policies.
You finally have a champion for workers in the White House, and instead of putting China first, I'm putting Michigan first, and I'm putting America first.
Saying he'll bring more auto manufacturing back to Detroit. But he is also easing tariffs on U.S. automakers amid worries about car prices going up. Fox's Doug Luzader reports.
We are getting pretty close on trade deals with India, Japan, South Korea. In addition to the cabinet meeting this morning, the president will meet with a number of business leaders at the White House today to announce new investments in the economy.
Democrats keep focusing on low Trump job approval poll numbers, denouncing the president's second term in speeches all night in the Senate.
It's chaos.
one fiasco after another.
Minority Leader Chuck Schumer. Here's Senator Chris Coons.
The last 100 days, President Trump has made Americans less safe, less prosperous, and less free.
This could be a big deal. What the Supreme Court will consider this morning.
An Oklahoma-based case that could allow for the nation's first religious charter school. That measure could also greatly expand taxpayer funding for religious education. Justices will weigh if St. Isidore of Seville Catholic Virtual School, which is privately run but publicly funded, can offer a religious education.
Fox's Todd Pyro. Wisconsin Supreme Court has suspended Judge Hannah Dugan, Milwaukee judge who was arrested last week, accused of trying to thwart the arrest of an illegal immigrant in the courthouse. America's listening to Fox News.
Johns Hopkins University has found that just mild hearing loss doubles your risk of dementia, so hearing loss isn't something to ignore.
But hearing aids are so expensive and ugly.
Not anymore. Meet Audion Hearing. You can get nearly invisible hearing aids without a prescription starting at $98 a pair, and they're ready to use right out of the box. Rated the best hearing aids of 2025 by Forbes Health, and with over 1 million customers, Audion is easy to trust. Visit audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
He's coming. Here he goes.
Surprise! Your table saw broke. Also, the warranty expired weeks ago, so you need to pay for a new one out of pocket.
At Progressive, we know small business owners don't usually like surprises because they cost you money. But a good surprise that could save you money? Getting a commercial auto quote from Progressive.
Oh, and the replacement part you ordered doesn't fit, so it's completely useless.
What a waste.
Surprise yourself. See if you can save in as little as 7 minutes at progressivecommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Schools are again offering just remote learning today in Chatham, Illinois, near Springfield, where they're mourning the 4 students killed when a car smashed through an after-school program on Tuesday. The driver is not in custody. Police do not believe it was intentional. One person is dead after a crash in Delaware.
2 people are in the custody of Newark, Delaware police after the Tuesday afternoon incident. It started when officers tried to arrest the driver and passenger of a U-Haul truck that had been rented but reported as not returned when it was due more than a month ago. The U-Haul's driver took off, hitting 2 pedestrians and crashing into several parked vehicles before being caught. Witnesses say it was chaotic.
All we heard was like car crashing and a bunch of noise, and we heard like gunshots, and like it was just the scariest moment of my life. I don't know what was going on. It's just a lot.
Newark police officials say their officers did not engage in pursuit. The University of Delaware says the pedestrian killed in the crash was a student. Tanya J. Powers, Fox News.
On Wall Street, stock futures are mixed the day after big gains, despite another drop in consumer confidence to a 5-year low. In the NBA playoffs, 2 teams advance.
Here's Gary Trent Jr. Lets it fly. And the Pacers are moving on. What a comeback in overtime.
Down 7 in OT, the Indiana Pacers rally back to beat and knock out the Milwaukee Bucks 119-118 on NBA TV.
Indiana moved on to the second round and will play the Cleveland Cavaliers. The reigning NBA champs, the Boston Celtics, are into the second round after a 120-89 win over the Orlando Magic. Celtics await the winner of the Knicks-Pistons series. In New York last night, Game 5, Detroit the winner. Pistons beat the Knicks 106-103. Sent the series back to Detroit for Game 6 tomorrow. New York up 3-2. The Denver Nuggets got 43 points from Jamal Murray in Game 5 against the Clippers. Nuggets went up 3-2 with a 131-115 victory.
That's Fox's Jared Max. In the NHL playoffs, Carolina knocked New Jersey out in double overtime. I'm Dave Anthony. This is Fox News.
Good morning. WIBX 950 AM, 92.3 FM news time is 8:05. I'm Megan Stone with your news update brought to you by John's Mobile Home Parts and Accessories in Oriskany Falls. For all your mobile home needs, it's worth the trip. Visit johnsmobilehomeparts.com. 43 degrees and cloudy skies right now. Your full weather forecast and your Keeler's Cash Code is coming up next. Herkimer County Legislature Chairman Robert Hollum is being held without bail after being arrested for a 3rd time on Wednesday for violating conditions of his probation. There's confusion around what he was arrested for. Oneida County District Attorney Todd Carvel told WIBX he was arrested for violating probation and added he is not aware of Hollum being charged with any additional drug possession charges since his first arrest. Hollum, who was previously arrested in May on drug and alcohol-related charges and arrested again in September for storing a weapon unsafely, is scheduled to appear in Town of Ilion Court on May 9th. You could read the full story on WIBX950.com. At least 11 players with the West Hill High School boys lacrosse team will be facing charges for their alleged roles in a hazing incident. The Onondaga County District Attorney says last Thursday night, the players decided to play a prank on younger team members and took them to a remote location where other teens were waiting. The teens came out of the woods with what appeared to be weapons, and one young player was tied up and put in a trunk. No one was hurt, and the rest of the team's season is canceled. 5 former corrections officers at Marcy Correctional Facility are getting more time to decide if they'll accept or reject plea deals. The ex-officers are among a group of 10 people accused of being involved in the beating death of inmate Robert Brooks at the prison last December. This extension was granted yesterday based on the discovery of new evidence that couldn't be accessed by the defendants or their legal teams. Whoever decides a plea offer will appear in court for a pretrial hearing in June. And if you've got a runny nose, itchy throat, and are sneezing and wheezing, you aren't alone. Tree pollen season has hit the Northeast hard and is expected to get worse as it continues through May. Website pollen.com has put New York City, Albany, Concord, the New Hampshire, Burlington, Vermont, and Boston and Worcester, Massachusetts on its worst cities list. The New York City Department of Health says asthma emergency room visits are up, especially in children, and so are over-the-counter sales of allergy medications. Grass pollen ramps up in May and June, so it'll be a while before allergy sufferers get any relief. Your Keeler's cash code for this hour is 812. Head on over to WIBX950.com and enter code 812 under the Win Keeler's Cash tab in the trending bar. You could win yourself $1,000. Again, the code is 812. Currently, it's 8:07 right now with your WIBX News Time. Here's your full weather forecast.
All right, severe weather now past us. Some strong winds, 70 plus, some damage across the region. Not widespread, but there was some. And now the clouds are giving way to clearing sky and becoming sunny today, 55. Tonight, cold, down close to freezing. Some spots at the Adirondacks may sneak into the 20s. Thursday, sunshine, 70. I'm meteorologist Ray Stidgick from the Weather Channel, WIBX 950 AM and 92.3 FM.
Currently, it is 8:08, 43 degrees outside and cloudy. Let's take a look at sports. This year's NFL Draft is among the most watched ever. An average audience of 7.5 million viewers watched the draft held in Green Bay, Wisconsin. That makes it the second most watched draft ever, only behind the 2020 draft. This year had the most watched day, 3 on record, with an average of 4.3 million viewers as fans watched to see which team would draft quarterback Shedeur Sanders. The first day of the draft averaged 13.6 million viewers, while the second day averaged 7.5 million. The Hurricanes are the first team to advance to the second round of the Stanley Cup playoffs. Carolina eliminated the New Jersey Devils following a double overtime victory in Game 5. The Senators staved off elimination for a second time after shutting up the Maple Leafs in Game 5 from Toronto. Elsewhere, the Golden Knights took a 3-2 series lead after beating the Wild in overtime, and the Oilers led their series 3-2 after holding off the Kings. The postseason continues with 3 more Game 5s today. The Capitals hosting the Canadiens. They're up 3-1. The Panthers and the Lightning, they're leading 3-1, and the Jets hosting the Blues. Their series is tied 2-2. A Giants legend is ready to make another mark on the franchise. According to Bloomberg, former quarterback Eli Manning is putting together an investment group to bid for a piece of the G-Men. New York confirmed in February that it is exploring the sale of a minority, non-controlling share of the team. The Knicks, they were unable to close out their first-round series against the Pistons after falling to Detroit 106-103 in Game 5. OG Anunoby led the Knicks in scoring with 19 points as every starter scored in the double digits. New York now leads the series 3-2 and visit the Detroits for Game 6 tomorrow night. The Bronx Bombers blasted their way to a 15-3 win over the Orioles to even their series. Trent Grisham, Aaron Judge, Ben Rice, and Cody Bellinger each went deep in the first inning as the Yankees slugged 6 home runs as a team. They lead the AL East and hope to win tonight's rubber match. The Mets opened their series against the Diamondbacks with an 8-3 win from Queens. David Peterson grabbed the victory after striking out 2 over 5 frames. Francisco Lindor, Starling Marte, and Pete Alonso each went deep. New York is leading the NL East and continue its 3-game set against Arizona tonight. Again, your Keeler's cash code for this hour is 812. You can enter that code on the Win Keeler's Cash on the WIBX950.com trending bar. You could win $1,000. Again, the code is 812. 8:11 right now, 43 degrees and cloudy outside. I'm Megan Stone.
What a change from yesterday. 87 degrees in some parts. It was just incredible. And today it'll be 50 something. Gotta love it.
Welcome to upstate New York.
Welcome to upstate New York. Beth Irons in with us here for the last hour. Ryan Noble's coming up in a few. We'll speak with Senator Griffo, Marianne Buttonshaw on the budget. Got a lot to get to.
Keeping good company here.
Very much so. And let me tell you about Mohawk Valley Manufacturing in Rome on the Lower East Dominic Street in Rome. And there's a business, Mohawk Valley Manufacturing, that offers a real alternative if you're doing a project and you need concrete, as opposed to trying to mix the Quikrete, which doesn't last like prime concrete does. They offer a no minimum. So if you bring in the big truck, you're probably going to look at 7 yards or 8 yards minimum. You may only need 2 yards or a yard or 3 yards. There's a lot of waste there, and you're paying for what you don't need. You don't have to do that with Mohawk Valley Manufacturing. It's a smaller European-style mixer, so it can get into places that the big mixers cannot, which is a real benefit. And then maybe you need 1 yard or 2 yards or 3 yards. Same-day service. You can text them or call them, but there's no minimum. So you don't waste, and you don't waste the money. Call them at 315-748-5886, or you can text them, 315-748-5886. 5886, and they'll deliver even today for you if that's what you needed. Mohawk Valley Manufacturing, 315-748-5886.
This station is brought to you by John's Mobile Home Parts and Accessories in Oriskany Falls. For all your mobile home needs, it's worth the trip. Visit johnsmobilehomeparts.com for more info.
BME Company Business Machines and Equipment has been delivering office solutions for businesses in upstate New York for over 30 years. Their success comes from finding the right document management strategies and software solutions for streamlining workflows. Simply put, BME provides fast, reliable service at the best value to keep your business running smoothly. Through BME's strategic partnership with Hummel's Office Plus, they distribute supplies for just about every machine in your office at a great price. BME welcomes the opportunity to serve your business, selling, leasing, and service in Canon and Kyocera devices, as well as FP mailing solutions. An important part of BME's culture is supporting the communities they're fortunate to work in, and BME recognizes that support is one reason for their success. The future of business in BME's area is encouraging, and the company is grateful to be a part of that growth. Call BME Company at 315-574-8200 or visit BMEcompany.com. BME Company Office Solutions, made simple.
Jake Cannell with Blues here, the Blues Brothers of Central New York, here at the Rome Capitol Theater, preparing for the CNY Onstage Live event.
And this event is going to be bigger than ever.
It's showtime for 18 incredible acts on Saturday, May 10th at 7. Magicians, comedians, musicians, and Showtime the Band with special guests. CNY Onstage Live at the Capitol Theater, Saturday, May 10th at 7. Tickets on sale now.
Dear me, I'm you writing from your future. I know that you're hesitant to get care for your heart. But when you visit the St. Joseph's Health Cardiovascular Institute, you'll receive a higher level of care. Their team of highly skilled doctors, nurses, and specialists provides comprehensive heart care and quicker recovery times, giving you the best possible outcomes. Go to sjhsyr.org/CVI to get started. Don't wait. Get back to the life you love.
The cost of everything is up these days, and let's face it, you've been dreaming of a nice payday. Well, your prayers are being answered with Win Keeler's Cash. Win Keeler's Cash is back, and we're giving away even more money every weekday at the top of the hour, every hour from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Listen for the cash code and enter it on WIBX950.com. Every entry brings you closer to winning the $1,000 daily prize and puts you in the running to be a $10,000 lucky winner. Win Keeler's Cash on WIBX 950 AM and 92.3 FM.
WIBX. This is Keeler. WIBX 950 and 92.3 FM.
Now back to the Keeler Show.
sure you know by now, but we had a few school delays and all of that this morning. Was it Remsen that was closed? But Holland Patton and Poland on that 2-hour delay. Based on the storm yesterday and based on power outages and everything else, it's just crazy. Speaking of crazy, Albany. It looks like there's a budget in place. Seemed that way on Monday when the governor came out, but now it seems like there's still debate going back and forth, and this is possibly being delayed. Let's talk to somebody who's in the room, the lone Democrat from the area, Marianne Buttonshaw. Assemblywoman, good morning.
Good morning. Thank you, Bill. And yes, a lot of devastation with the storm, and I'm so sorry to hear of so many individuals and 77 miles an hour. Wow.
Temperatures near, when you think about it, near 90. I mean, 87 is
in the
pretty
beginning,
warm.
Yeah.
In the beginning, and then all of a sudden the cooler air came in and the high winds in some parts, especially to the north, they got hit really really well. And, for somebody like Ann in Rome who described it, she said it sounded like, she was hit with a tornado the first time. She said it sounded like we were going to have a redo of the tornado. That's what the rumbling sounded like outside her house. So, craziness.
Yes. So, the storm in Albany continues.
And speaking of rumbling like a tornado, yeah.
But I can say that, I wish the best for everyone that was hit yesterday and that power gets on. And it's tough. Like you said, schools are delayed. But clearly, we've had discussions all last weekend, and there was hopeful that we were progressing quite quickly early in the week. And it was evident that there is still much discussion. And much of the discussion has moved from policy to financial concern.
Okay.
So I'm not sure where.
Well, it's funny. She's coming out as if it's all done. She's got so we'll be getting the rebate. Families will receive $500 and then $200 or $300 for individuals. I mean, but that's not a done deal yet, is it?
No.
Well,
I mean, it's proposed. It looks like it's those various points, but there's a lot of other points. I mean, we have to still consider our schools. We have discussions in regards to healthcare. So there is a lot more that just needs to be finalized. From my perspective, we had conference yesterday, and we will have conference again today and tomorrow. We will go into session tomorrow. We weren't initially planning on it, where our extender is till tomorrow, so we will pass another extender tomorrow, but not. So the thought process is it'll be till Monday.
Okay.
But that's kind of in the hands of the governor. If she wants us back on Saturday or Sunday, we would be back. So
when I wrote this story on Monday, when the governor came out and said that deal had been reached, hallelujah, all is amazing, and I added to my story, and maybe it's editorializing a little bit, maybe I shouldn't have done it, but I did. I added they are expected to vote on these bills by the end of the week, but I added, or possibly next week, because I just didn't have the feeling like this thing was all set the way it was. There was a lot there, and it didn't seem like it was as set as she claimed it was.
Well, and I think that we were making progress over the weekend, but there comes a point, as you stated, that having conference and meeting on Monday for discussions, and it's quite evident at the end of the day on Monday, because bills have to be printed, and so you're realizing, as you stated, that there's just not enough days for it to progress.
Assemblywoman,
go ahead.
Is there a good morning, by the way? This is Beth.
Beth Irons in studio.
Oh, hi, Beth. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good.
Is there a hard, like a drop dead date for this? I mean, do you does any governing body get to a point where they just can't continue to do extensions? There just has to be a decision has to be made, good, bad, or otherwise?
Well, as one of my colleagues reminded me, they were here till August at one point some time ago.
Yeah, I
kind of thought I might have been sorry I asked that question.
Yeah, so I don't know that there is, right? This could linger and drag. And think of Marianne, how this makes it very difficult on so nonprofits that are relying on money. You
still got to do business.
You still got to do business.
Yeah.
Schools, they have the vote on their budget coming up on the 20th, and they may not know. They won't. I mean, they've had to create a budget
on a wish and a prayer.
Correct. Yeah. I mean, this is tough.
Right. And that was the push to finalize it, as you said. This just has such a domino effect to so many other individuals, agencies, school districts. So it is important for us to get this in order. But there is concerns of possible changes that might happen at the federal level, so that we might be back in Albany again to have further discussions.
Well, geez, that could come in the wintertime. At the
chaos
end of the year.
runs downhill.
Yeah. What is for you? What do you see? What is the sticking point right now in this budget?
I think it's just more important to finalize dollar amounts. I mean, we have to make sure our CHIPS funding is there. You know, it's just all the things that generally are in the budget that now we have to just finalize and ensure that they're there. So reviewing those conversations of how much money is there for our highways, how much money, more importantly, as you stated, with the schools, you know, is it remaining? And sometimes, and I know that you have a great friend, Rick Timms, more than a friend, but he can tell you that it's subjective the way that someone says, oh, no, we're even and we're equal and we didn't touch it at all. And then he says, well, wait a minute. Yes, you did, because there was that movement.
So you really are waiting for the budget bill at the federal level. Is that what you're saying? I mean, when it comes to CHIPS funding, you're going to be dealing with the fear, because there's been talk about getting rid of that funding which would affect Micron, which would be a huge problem for us upstate. Are you thinking that this could go past that? Because that doesn't seem like it's going to be an easy vote, by the way, at the federal level.
No, I just, let me clarify. I'm just saying that we could be possibly back in the fall to have further discussions if
depending on
things. And to your point, when many different districts or agencies are planning on having funding, and if the funding doesn't come through, what alternatives are there, and what do we need to do in regard to discussions?
Yeah. Okay.
Well, and I think it's important for people to remember, too, that budgets are like master plans and strategic plans. They're living documents.
Yeah.
They have to change and modify as time goes on because unexpected things happen, good and bad.
Yeah.
You know, the pandemic being one of them. The pandemic wiped everybody's slate clean
Changed
and said,
everything.
okay, put this aside. This is what we want to do. Now we have to concentrate on what we have to do.
Things destroy projections.
Exactly.
That certainly destroyed projections.
Budgets are just pictures of how we want things to happen, not necessarily how they will.
But you're thinking, Marianne, that this could come maybe Monday or even over the weekend, where bills could be drafted and a vote could be coming.
We would start voting on them. Yes, generally. We don't do budget bill by budget bill. Generally, we make sure that all the budget bills are ready to go so that we can move forward. On a positive note, Mohawk Valley Community College national champion men's basketball and men's soccer will be here today and acknowledged in the assembly. And
nice.
I'm sure and the Senator Griffith will have them in the Senate. It's just a exciting time. So that's one great thing that we're having today.
All right. Well, I think they've not a budget, but
it's a positive. Can't forget those.
2 national champions from here, so pretty cool. All right. Well, good luck today, and I don't know what to say. Keep your eye on the ball, something like that. I don't know. So.
Thank you for what you do.
You.
All right, Marianne. Thank you so much. Okay.
All right.
Marion Buttonshawn, Assemblywoman. We'll speak to Senator Griffo coming up in a second. She's been waiting for a bit. Lucia, good morning.
Good morning, Bill. How are you doing? I saw your father-in-law, yesterday.
You
wow.
did? Yes.
Your father-in-law is rolling. Wow. I did not recognize him. I've seen him 3 times. I should know by now.
Yes.
So I was talking to him, not knowing who he was, and so, wow.
Well,
wow.
I don't know what wow means, but I'm
going to tell you what it means. It means great. He's a great guy.
Yes. And actually, Marianne was just talking about him because he does a lot of work with the legislators in regards to funding for school districts. So, yeah.
Yes, I'm talking to him, No, it's a man that I'm talking to. I talk to a lot of people. And I thought, wow, this one is really smart, because I never interacted to him at a level. Now I was asking questions. Wow, I said, you're really smart. Then I got to his car. I said, what do you have there? Wow. And he told me what it was. I said, oh, you're going. But anyway, very nice, yeah.
Well, that's awesome. I'm sure he'll love the fact that you said nice things. And Gino is the barber of all barbers. Lucia's husband.
He did his hair. He loves it.
Yeah.
And Bill said that Gino was really good, And he said, absolutely, the way he said it is so kind. And he's it's not a guy that anybody can fool or play around with. He's super smart.
Yeah, I've tried. It just doesn't work.
No, doesn't. It's not going to work.
Let me marry his daughter. It's just crazy. Yeah. Okay, Lucia, thank you. We appreciate it.
I have the CD player.
Yes, and you do, and I have that converted, so we can move forward on your project.
All right.
We'll talk later. Thank you.
Have a sunshine day. And say hello to Senator Griffo. Everybody loves him.
I will definitely do that. Speaking of the car, what car are you driving? That's a nice car. Steve Pawnee Mazda moved to the Mazda sales event is continuing. You can save on a new Mazda lease or enjoy 0.9% APR financing on new 2025 Mazda CX-30s, CX-5s, 50s, 70s, and the amazing CX-90, which Mazda's just done such a tremendous job on. See Rick or anybody at the dealership for details. Mazda finished 2024 with a 16.8% sales increase year over year and was awarded more IIHS Top Safety Pick Plus awards than any other brand. And the treatment you get at Steet is just spectacular. As Rick says, come in and let's make your deal on a new Steve Pawnee Mazda. Steve Pawnee Mazda Commercial Drive in Yorkville. Coming up, Senator Joe Griffo and then Ryan Nobles from NBC. Megan has an update on news next.
Don't miss Clinton Tractor Spring Sales Event. We're giving you the best deals of the season on all of our inventory. Thousands of used and new equipment in stock, all in one location. Get 0% financing on new Ferris commercial mowers, Massey Ferguson, and New Holland equipment. And trailers and used equipment as low as 5.49%. Restrictions apply. We're giving you the best deals of the season. It's Clinton Tractor Spring Sales Event.
We are the leader in service, Clinton Tractor.
ClintonTractor.net.
If you're experiencing discomfort in your knees, hips, or back, it may stem from foot issues. The Good Feet Store is here to help with their team of arch support specialists. Their comprehensive solution includes strengtheners, maintainers, and relaxers, a 3-step system of arch supports that work together to improve and maintain proper foot alignment by exercising and strengthening muscles, tendons, and ligaments of the feet. Get back to being pain-free with the Good Feet Store at their new Hartford location on Commercial Drive. Learn more at goodfeet.com.
Good morning, WIBX 950 AM 92.3 FM. I'm Megan Stone with your news update brought to you by Clinton Tractor, the leader in service. Visit clintontractor.net. 5 former corrections officers at Marcy Correctional Facility are getting more time to decide if they'll accept or reject plea deals. The ex-officers are among a group of 10 people accused of being involved in the beating death of inmate Robert Brooks at a prison last December. This extension was granted yesterday based on the discovery of new evidence that couldn't be accessed by the defendants or their legal teams. Whoever denies a plea offer will appear in court for a pretrial hearing in June. Herkimer County Legislature Chairman Robert Hollum is being held without bail after being arrested for a third time on Wednesday for violating conditions of his probation. There is confusion around what he was arrested for exactly, but Oneida County District Attorney Todd Carville told WIBX he was arrested for violating probation and added he is not aware of Hollum being charged with any additional drug possession charges since his first arrest. Hollum, who was previously arrested in May on drug and alcohol-related charges and arrested again in September for storing a weapon unsafely, is scheduled to appear in Town of Ilion Court on May 9th. A Madison County woman will spend the next 5 years behind bars on firearms, drug, and conspiracy charges. The U.S. Department of Justice announced 46-year-old Jessica Snyder of Canastota was found guilty of conspiring to distribute methamphetamine and a heroin mixture containing fentanyl with her husband, Andrew Snyder, between October 2020 and May 2022 from her home garage. She was also sent to federal prison on charges of criminal possession of 2 9mm handguns, ammunition, and other controlled substances. Upon release, she will serve a 4-year term of supervised release. Her husband was sentenced earlier to 60 months behind bars. And strong storms blew through the Mohawk Valley last night, knocking out power to thousands of homes. Trees were torn down across central New York, including one that caught fire after falling on a home on Lakeshore Drive in Sylvan Beach. A trailer employed was also damaged by a falling tree, and the repaired roof of the First Presbyterian Church in Rome also sustained damage. At this time, no injuries have been reported. At the storm's peak, over 11,000 customers were without power. National Grid warns people to stay away from downed power lines. WIBX 950 AM 92.3 FM. Your full weather forecast is next. I'm Megan Stone.
All right, severe weather now past us. Some strong winds, 70 plus, some damage across the region. Not widespread, but there was some. And now the clouds are giving way to clearing sky and becoming sunny today, 55. Tonight, cold, down close to freezing. Some spots in the Adirondacks may sneak into the 20s. Thursday, sunshine, 70. I'm meteorologist Ray Stidgick from the Weather Channel, WIBX 950 AM and 92.3 FM.
All right, currently we're looking at some clouds. There'll be some sunshine breaking through at some point. We are much cooler today at 44 degrees. Beth Irons from the Utica County Public Market in studio here this morning. Beth, good morning. And she'll be back up and running later on in the month of May 17th.
Yep.
And that goes, it's the outdoor, basically the summer season.
Summer season, yep, behind the train station.
Of your farmer's market. Some of the greatest stuff you're going to find. And, you can cook, the Europeans tend to cook this way, where it's what's in season.
Exactly.
And you make for dinner what you're able to get at a place like a farmer's market.
Yep. I mean, and our farmers don't run out of eggs. During the pandemic, they didn't run out of meat.
You pay much less for the eggs.
Yes, it's all local. Good. I mean, you're investing your food dollars in your neighbors and your community. So,
we always buy beef, and I have a friend, the Douglas Farm, and we always buy usually every year and buy like either a half or a quarter cow.
Yep.
And I go heavy on the ground beef because we use that a lot. I don't ever buy ground beef in the grocery store. You always have it on hand.
Yep.
And it came from one animal, and that's the big deal.
And local.
And local. How they were fed and all of that stuff. It's a big deal. We also know how Senator Joe Griffo was fed. It was all Italian food. All Italian
local.
Food.
All local.
All
Italian.
local Italian food. He's on the line right now. Senator, good morning.
Well, good morning, everyone. It's good that you got Beth there. She does a great job.
Morning, Joe.
And, she's been at it for a long time. So thanks for your work, Beth.
Thank you.
All right, Joe, let's start with I know we want to talk about the electric truck debacle, but let's start with the budget debacle. What are you thinking? This didn't seem Monday like it was done, even though the governor was saying with a smile, it's done. The arguing and the debating is still going on.
Yeah, it appears that there must be some general consensus arrived by the majorities and the governor on some of the key issues. The governor's claiming victory on a number of things that, from a policy perspective, I think much of what she had envisioned and advocated for has been watered down to the point where I'm not sure it is going to have any significant impact. Hopefully, like on discovery changes, the DAs can better address and indicate whether they feel this will be beneficial to them. The school bell ban, I know school districts have some concerns. I agree. I have always thought it should be a local decision. Relative to involuntary, I think it's going to be set up in a way where it's going to be a little more challenging to actually get done what they want to do, to be able to, where you have a problem, deal with it on the street. So we'll look at the details when they provide that. And then on the mask ban, I'm just not sure where they landed on that. As I indicated earlier, I know people were concerned relative to medical and religious, which were acceptable exemptions, but I don't know why we just couldn't go back to the way it was in 2019, where you don't walk into a bank with a mask. And So it's just kind of interesting. You know, common sense just doesn't prevail here in the Capitol anymore. And relative to the numbers, I mean, the numbers are staggering. You're talking about a $250 billion budget. If you look at, and we'll go over this when it's finalized, Bill, but they're looking at the spending levels that are unsustainable. And at some point, this is all going to come back. And right now, they're pointing fingers at the federal government and everything, but that's not the problem. The problem is here, and that there's a lot of uncertainty there, but the problem is here. So yeah, I don't know that it's completely complete at this point in time. I know they're still having caucuses, but I do believe that in essence, I would envision there's the possibility and probability by the end of policy in accordance with the philosophy that has been embraced. But I don't know. I don't know specifically. These are the details that are still, I think, to a certain extent, being finalized and ironed out. And that's why you don't have a budget proposal to look at, or a budget to examine and ultimately debate. So yeah, we'll see what's happening. I again anticipate another extender tomorrow, and then after that, that will really be the indicator if it's where we are and whether this can actually be completed by the next week. I think there is a recognition now that, look, you're over a month late. School districts are going out for budget votes in a couple of weeks, 3 weeks. So get it done. So I think maybe the governor's pronouncement was a little premature, but it may be a way to continue to push them too, because she did feel that they had conceptual agreements on many of the significant issues that she had identified. And one that we do know about, and I do, and we've talked about this on your show, I do believe that we do have an affordability problem in New York State, and that's obvious. And she's finally recognized that. I just disagree with the approach. She is trying to give people $200 checks, and originally it was going to be a $300 check. Now it's a $200 check. So I'm not sure. And she's taking that from the $3 billion in sales tax money that was over and beyond what was budgeted last year. I think there's better ways that we can provide permanent relief as opposed to one-time relief.
Also, the EPA, local businesses, you put everybody together in regards to this electric Advanced Clean Truck Act is what it's called.
Yeah, it's all part of the climate bills that were passed here to CLCPA, and it's going to have a detrimental impact on business, and the economic challenges are significant. So what I tried to do is, because I don't believe there's a sensitivity here in New York based on the current majorities and their ideology, to look at things in a reasonable, realistic fashion and manner. And that's all we're saying right now. Hit the pause button and review this, because it's unrealistic. And we talked about electric school buses, right? It's unaffordable, it's unreliable, and the time frame is unrealistic. And there's just a resistance to do that. So the best bet here is to maybe have them hit the pause button. As a result of that, I know there's great frustration, and Tom Hyland and Utica Mac and many others there, Joe Rakowski, all were here yesterday because they are going to be negatively affected by this, which is not a good thing. And nobody's listening. So what we try to do is appeal to the Environmental Protection Agency at the federal government now. There is a change in mindset and philosophy, and we brought the regional administrator, who I know, here to listen to these individuals and to ascertain what, if anything, the EPA can do. Now, what the EPA is looking at is taking and it's unfortunately that we've become so litigious right now, but they're looking at court action. They're looking at funding. Basically not providing funding to states to do what they want to do because there are federal funds in order to do some of these things. So they're looking at courts, funding, and different regulations that could make it more challenging for states to try and do these things. Perfect illustration, Bill, and it was with the regional administrator, Martucci, said yesterday. You look at Pennsylvania, New Jersey. It's right across the river. And I know you're a great golfer, so maybe you would need only a 9. You might only need a 9 iron. But what they're saying basically, there's 2 plants that face each other across a river, which you could probably hit a golf ball with a 9 iron across the river. It's that small of a distance. And basically, one is being forced to comply in New Jersey with all these stringent regulations, and in Pennsylvania, the guy is just blowing the coal into the air. You know what I mean? And it's just burning coal in the air. It's ridiculous when you look at this. You can't have that type of situation going on where you're negatively impacting one state and the businesses there, and somebody else is doing something that is contrary. That's not going to ultimately achieve the objective that you want. I do believe, as we talked about, Bill, you can protect and preserve the environment and grow the economy. They do not have to be exclusive. I think you're right. Odds.
Okay, so let's hook up probably first thing next week and see what happens with this budget. So maybe
this is just like we're like in a conclave here. So you might have a pope before you have a budget.
I see white smoke coming out of our chimney right now. I don't know what that means.
Okay.
All right. Apparently, we're using a gas engine. I think. Yep. I think we might be. All right, Joe. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator.
All right. Have a great day, Senator Joe Griffo. Listen, if you're struggling with pain, neck pain, back pain, wrist, arthritis, there's Revive Softwave Therapy with Dr. Timothy Del Medico, a program I'm working on with them in the month of May. There's the $99 new patient special, introductory discovery, a consultation with one of the doctors, soft wave therapy treatment, and a treatment and recovery plan and assessment for you. There's no obligation, but people everywhere are feeling the relief of that chronic pain. Call 315-725-8427 to set up an appointment. It increases blood supply and sends that blood to the area that is being treated. It simulates an injury. And stem cells, I mean, you pay a lot of money to have stem cell injections. You can create that based on your own body. And this Revive Softwave Therapy helps you get there. Call today at 315-725-8427.
Now, you know that no one else in New York State has all the brands under one roof that Mattress Express has. Tempur-Pedic, Stearns & Foster, Sealy, Purple, Puffy, the Smart Bed by Instant Comfort, Posh & Lavish, Therapeutic, and the largest selection of FlexEd beds in New York State. But when these companies come out with new models, we get left with brand new inventory of the old model and floor models that we have to sell off as clearance, and that's where you save. These come with the full manufacturer's warranty, many of them still in the original packaging, brand new stuff. Right now, come into Mattress Express, pick a king or queen clearance model and even some new models and get a free adjustable base. Save over what you would have paid originally and get a free adjustable base. Take up to 5 years to pay with no money down for qualified buyers, and we have no credit check payment plans. Go to mattressexpressny.com for locations. Call 1-800-NEW-BEDS.
Now, don't get suckered into the same old free phone game by Big Wireless. That comes with a lot of fine print, plus. Oh, in other words, you pay more. At the end of the day, you paid for that, quote, free phone 3 times over. There is a better way. Pure Talk, my cell phone provider, a veteran-owned company, my sponsor, my wireless company, has a much better offer. A free phone with a qualifying plan for just $35 a month, and you get a brand new Samsung Galaxy A26. Just make the switch to Pure Talk for $35 a month. You get unlimited talk, unlimited text, 15 gigs of data with mobile hotspot and roaming, all on America's most dependable 5G network. Just dial pound 250, say the keyword Pure Talk, and Pure Talk's U.S. customer service team will help you make the switch in as little as 10 minutes. Again, just dial pound 250, say the keyword Pure Talk for your free Samsung Galaxy with qualifying plan when you make the switch to Pure Talk Wireless, by Americans, for Americans.
Do it old school with Heritage Logging and Tree Removal, the area's go-to land clearing company. They specialize in tree removal, land clearing, stump grinding, and more. For your free estimate, call 315-796-2941 or visit heritagelogging.com.
WIBX.
This is Keeler.
WIBX 950 and 92.3 FM.
Now back to the Keeler Show.
All right, let's go to, by the way, I do have to bring in Ryan Nobles here and make one major compliment. Because, Ryan, I know when you go to a party, and you were at...
Uh-oh. Backstories, inside information.
No, I'm not going there. But you were at the correspondence dinner, and you still made it up for Meet the Press on Sunday morning. Wow. That was a great accomplishment.
Yeah, and that's despite I was prepared to leave our very nice after party, which took place at the French ambassador's residence.
Wow.
I was trying to cut out a little early, and then my colleague Melanie Zanona walked into the party and said, "Come on, you got to do one more lap with me." So I stayed out much later than I had anticipated on Saturday night, but still made it there in time to Meet the Press in the morning and had a great conversation with my colleagues.
You did, and you looked like you'd been up, all morning long, feeling good, energetic.
What do they say? Red Bull gives you wings.
Red Bull, yes. You had wings and some really good HD makeup. I thought that was well done.
One of our makeup artists is a good friend of mine, Jennifer. As I was walking out to the set, she didn't happen to do my makeup that morning. Said to me, "Boy, it looks like you were out late last night." As I'm walking out to the set.
Oh, boy.
Like, what are you trying to tell me, Jennifer? So, but yeah, it was good. It was fun. And the nice thing about doing Meet the Press the day after the correspondence dinner is that all of our big executives are in town. So it's a good opportunity to meet and greet with them as well. So it was a good weekend overall. So that weekend is a lot of work, which I know sounds ridiculous because we just go to a bunch of parties, but there's a lot of networking and connecting with people, and you got to be on the whole weekend.
Yeah.
So it's fun to do, and I'm honored that I get the opportunity. But I'm always happy to see it in the rearview mirror as well. So
understood. And when you land in the rearview, you look in the rearview mirror, and you're on the set of Meet the Press. That's pretty good. So I mean,
I do feel very blessed, and it all started in Utica, so that's why I'm
pretty awesome.
Forget you guys for sure.
Well, we do appreciate that, and all right. So, but you have a story here that really affects us significantly, and it's a story that you co-authored. The headline: Republicans urge Battleground Representative Mike Lawler to pass on a run for New York governor. And the story also includes a lot about Elise Stefanik, and there have been some grumblings back and forth there. What's your takeaway on all this?
Well, what you have right now is kind of a titanic showdown between two of the most prominent New York Republicans, in Elise Stefanik and Mike Lawler. Lawler represents one of the most competitive congressional districts in the country. He's one of only 3 House Republicans that currently is in a district that Kamala Harris won. And then you have Elise Stefanik, who's, of course, very close with President Trump, was spurned for the opportunity to become the UN ambassador and is forced to go back to her position in Congress after giving up her very prominent leadership position, her roles on a number of prominent committees, including the House Intelligence Committee. She gave up the opportunity to be a chair of a committee, thinking she was going to get the UN ambassador job. And so Lawler, who has long been thought to be a candidate for governor, he was a member of the New York State Assembly before running for Congress. Many thought that the run for Congress was basically just an opportunity for him to lay the groundwork for a statewide campaign, is now facing the prospect of a primary with Elise Stefanik, who is now floating the idea of considering a run for governor herself after being turned back for the opportunity to run for UN ambassador. And yesterday I asked Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the House, how concerned he is about this. These are 2 of his most prominent members. Does he want to see either of them go? Would he like to see them stay? And he told us that he wants them both to stay, but he's not going to begrudge them the opportunity to move forward. But what we've learned kind of reporting this piece out is that congressional Republicans are scared to death of the idea of Lawler running for governor. They consider him to be basically the only candidate that can win in that Hudson Valley district.
Yeah.
And with the margins as tight as they are, Republicans only have a 3-seat majority right now. They cannot afford for him not to run. So they basically were pleading with him through our story yesterday to not run. And then it also demonstrates kind of the tension that exists between Elise Stefanik and Mike Johnson, because the speaker told me yesterday that he's having conversations all the time, to which Stefanik responded to him on social media saying that they have not talked about her potential run
saw
for
that.
governor.
Yeah.
And then she complained about the fact that she wasn't invited to a meeting having to do with the SALT tax, which is the state income tax deduction for these high-tax states. So it's an intriguing back and forth that has huge implications in New York, but also has huge implications in Washington, and obviously affects a lot of you in Utica because you're a member of Congress. Elise Stefanik is at the center of all of it.
Very interesting, and it'll be. We'll have John Mannion, who actually covers Utica. We've been split, as you know, Ryan, and Elise covering Rome and Utica.
The listening area is what I meant. Yeah,
right. With John Mannion, and which is certainly a problem, but that's a whole other story to get into. I do find it, and then the other part of this is, if you're Elise Stefanik and you're running for governor of New York, you are not George Pataki. And New York's demographics and party affiliation has changed even more towards the Democrats and more liberal than it was back then. There's no sure win victory here. And, oh, by the way, it's going to be coming at a time where you don't know where things are going on the federal level. It's a risky move all the way around, I would think.
Such a great point. Such a great point, Bill. And what I learned yesterday talking to both New York Republicans and Washington Republicans is that there is a sense that if Elise Stefanik ran in the primary, she would crush Mike Lawler. She has far more MAGA bona fides, which even though New York is more of a liberal state, if you identify as a Republican, you are likely a supporter of Donald Trump.
Yes.
Even though there are fewer of those Republicans within the Republican Party, Donald Trump still reigns supreme. So she would probably win that primary without much effort. But in a general election, she would have a much more difficult climb than Lawler would be because of Lawler's moderate credentials. But I talked to one very prominent Republican, state Republican who understands how the state works, who told me that both of them have a very little chance of beating Kathy Hochul in a general election. Even though Hochul's numbers are underwater, she's not popular. But there's, as you point out, Bill, there's such an enrollment advantage for Democrats right now. 3 million more Democrats than there are Republicans in New York State. And I'm sure there are a lot of your listeners who, who may live in Republican areas who are shocked that anybody would vote for Kathy Hochul. But if you go to New York City and you go to Long Island, and you go to downstate New York, it's such a different thing. But I'd be interested in your listenership in particular, because I know you have a lot of Republican listeners. Would you prefer would you vote for Elise Stefanik just because you feel she's more MAGA pure, or would you vote for someone like Lawler because you think he has a better shot at beating Kathy Hochul? I think that's the perplexing question that always confronts Republicans in races like this, and I think your listeners probably more than anyone would give us some good insight into how Republicans are thinking.
And the average voter, I do not believe, votes strategically. The voter's not going to look at this and say, well, I got to tell you, Lawler's got a better chance because he's more moderate. It would be different. It would be, I don't like Lawler because he's moderate and extremely popular here. So I feel like, but at the end of the day, I think you're absolutely right. I think they both have that's an uphill climb for both of them to win in this state. And it is very interesting. The point you bring up about if you go to New York City, but not just New York, but a Buffalo or a Rochester, any city where you have a more diverse population. And we know how we talk here. And it's very easy to talk negative about a Democrat if you're in upstate New York. As you know, I travel a lot to New York City. You have those conversations in New York City, and you're arguing with somebody, and they're arguing for Kathy Hochul. It is a completely different world, and we are in a bubble, and we don't see it.
Right. I mean, if you ask somebody in Manhattan what they thought about Elise Stefanik, I think you get a pretty interesting thing. But you know what's interesting too about that, Bill, is I think that a lot of, if you're a MAGA person, you would prefer to have you'd prefer to lose than not have someone who has
that's the mentality right now. There's no doubt about it.
Put my person up who I think identifies with the way I believe than some half-baked person who talks a good game but doesn't follow through.
That is exactly right.
And as much as you might criticize that that strategy, I think there's a lot of people that come from the MAGA world who look at the results. That's the reason we have Donald Trump, because we chose a different path as a Republican Party, and instead of going with the Mitt Romneys of the world that were trying to reach out to a wider swath, we doubled down on our base, and that's what led to us ultimately winning a national election. Now, there's still a massive uphill climb to do that in New York, but I think the perspective of these people who are active voters is I'd rather have the person who I believe in, and even if they lose, at least we went down swinging.
Great point. We'll leave it at that. Ryan, thanks, and we'll do it again next week. Thank you.
And you can read that story on NBCnews.com, so go check it out.
I'll post a link to it later today. Thank you.
I appreciate it. All right, have a good one, guys.
Thank you. Ryan Nobles from
Repair. Locations in Utica, Yorkville, Rome, and Herkimer. Learn more at tallmanstire.com.
It's hard to know what to do when you lose a loved one. You need someone you can trust to help you navigate all the options. Mohawk Valley Monuments has been providing comfort and delivering quality memorials in our community for over 95 years. Mohawk Valley Monuments has experience with all the local cemeteries, from simple grave markings to intricate family mausoleums. For personalized service, call us today at 315-724-7629 or visit us at mohawkvalleymonuments.com.
Have you tried hands-free Skechers slip-ins yet? Because if you haven't, you're missing out on technology that changes how you think about shoes. First, these are not just regular slip-on shoes. They're not just a pair of loafers without laces. But what makes them different is the technology inside that lets you just step into them. There's a built-in hidden shoehorn that slides your foot in, so they look, feel, and wear just like a pair of shoes you're used to. Except you don't have to bend down, struggle to put them on, or touch them. Try them at a Skechers store, Skechers.com, or wherever stylish footwear is sold.
Trust and Will knows that we'll all eventually need a will. How about right now? Trust and Will makes creating your will easy, like while you're lounging on the couch easy. Trust and Will is designed by attorneys but customized by you, and all documents are state-specific and secure. Find your plan at trustandwill.com and use offer code RADIO now.
From the Stanley Theater Studio, WIBX Utica, Rome, W295EI, WIBX 950 and 92.3 FM, a Town Square media station.
The economy has slowed down. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. That is a new report just out this morning showing the economy did not grow at all in the first 3 months of the year.
We're getting the GDP in for the first quarter, and it is a contraction, negative 0.3%. This is the first contraction since the first quarter of 2022.
Fox Business Network's Maria Bartiromo, concerned about the economy, has dragged down President Trump's job approval poll numbers, but he insists